Good evening. Welcome to our October 17th City Council meeting. It is 7:06. My name is Rosario Diaz, and I am your Centennial Mayor. Tonight's invocation will be led by Rabbi Ralph Resnick from Temple Ami Shalom, and Councilwoman Letty Lopez Viado will lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. All rise.
Thank you, Mayor Diaz. Thank you all for inviting me to be here this evening. It is truly an honor. I've been the rabbi at Temple Ami Shalom in West Covina for about 4 years or so, but my roots in the San Gabriel Valley go back many, many years. My grandparents immigrated from Eastern Europe in the early 1900s. They spent some time on the East Coast, but in the 1930s, they bought a liquor store in Azusa. My mom and her siblings followed them to the San Gabriel Valley, and I grew up in Pasadena until I was almost 15 and went to Hebrew school and had my bar mitzvah in Alhambra. So this is like coming home for me. When Lisa first called me to be here this evening, I was supposed to be in Israel at this time on a vacation, visiting my brother and my daughter and many friends and family members. But I'm glad that I'm here tonight with you. The title of the national anthem of the state of Israel is Hatikva, the hope. And that idea of hope is so important in Israel and around the world at this very challenging time, not only in the Middle East, but also in Eastern Europe and in this country as well. Let us all hope and pray that these challenges will bring people together around the world, to pray for peace, to pray that we learn to respect all of the members of our communities, and to teach those valuable lessons to all of our children. Hatikva, always live with hope. Amen.
Please face the flag. Put your right hand over your heart. Ready? Begin.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you.
The city of West Covina would like to hold a moment of silence for the victims who have been killed, injured, or are missing as a result of the conflict between Hamas and Israel. I would like the community to know that we mourn and stand in solidarity with the families that have lost loved ones. Thank you. Assistant City Clerk, roll call, please.
Good evening, Mayor. Councilman Contos?
Here.
Councilman Wu?
Here.
Councilwoman Lopez Viado?
Present.
Mayor Pro Tem Tabatabai?
Present.
Mayor Diaz?
Here. City Attorney, is there anything to report out of our closed session?
Nothing to report, Madam Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you. I'd like to invite Ricky Choi, Director of Government and Community Relations, to the front.
Good evening, Mayor, members of the City Council. Thank you for having me this evening. My name is Ricky Choi. I'm Director of Government and Community Relations for the San Gabriel Valley Council of Governments. Joining me here tonight is my colleague, Marita Torres, who's in the audience here, and we're honored to be here tonight. I just wanted to take this opportunity to first thank Councilmember Tony Wu for being a delegate on the COGS governing board, and also wanted to acknowledge Councilmember Contos, who's on our homelessness committee, as well as our EE&R, our Energy, Environment, and Natural Resources Committee. So thank you for your involvement with the COG. And also on the city staff side, I believe it's my understanding that Assistant City Manager Paulina Morales is actually have been a member of the planning directors working group. So thank you for your involvement as well. And of course, we're very grateful to have the City of West Covina as a member of the Sangre Valley Regional Housing Trust. Next slide, please. So what is a COG and what do we do? As you may know, the COG is a Joint Powers Authority, a JPA, and it was founded in 1994 and includes 31 cities in the Sangre Valley, as well as 2 supervisorial districts, SD1, SD5, as well as 3 Sangre Valley water districts. The COG is a sub-regional government agency that works closely with all of our Sangre Valley cities to foster cooperation and collaboration on a number of issues, regional issues that face the region. And so our primary mission is really to collaborate together, work on projects together that impact the region, and advocate for all of our member cities and enhance the quality of life for the 1.5 million residents who call the Sangre Valley home. And so we manage, as I mentioned, we manage a number of programs, regional programs that serve our member agencies. Some you may be familiar with, and I'll go over that in a little bit. But what we're trying to do here at the COG is to serve our member agencies with the goal of meeting our common needs, providing local answers, enhancing the quality of life, and of course, putting our neighbors first. Next slide, please. So meeting our common needs, and what that means is the COG provides funding and technical assistance to our member cities to develop regional solutions for a number of complex issues and implement programs to help cities address a number of challenges. We at the COG really put an emphasis on implementing regional strategies, and so we try to support the cities however we can, and to help a lot of our cities and our communities and the diverse residents in the Sangre Valley, and including the city of West Covina. Our programs maximize local dollars to help each of our cities comply with a number of state laws and regulations. And one example I just wanted to highlight is our food recovery program, in which City of West Covina is a participant. The food recovery program is focused on helping cities comply with Senate Bill SB 1383, and that you may be aware of. And one of the key components of 1383 is requires cities to do inspections of grocery stores, restaurants, and other facilities to help ensure that food is not being thrown away, but instead donated. So with the COGS Food Recovery Program, we're working with cities regionally to address this and get these inspections done and ensure that cities remain in compliance with the new state law. And so this is just one example of a program that the COG is focused on bringing cities together, pulling resources together, and help cities comply with those state mandates. And also just want to mention that through our Housing Incubator Program, we're currently funding a part-time housing navigator to support the LA CADA's team, who's our service provider that is doing street-based homeless outreach in the city to help the high acuity and substance use disorder clients get the resources and the services that they need, which include also assistance to locate and secure housing. Next slide, please. Local answers. The goal of implementing local answers is very important to the COG. Each community, we understand, has its own unique challenges and needs, and so the COG provides innovative solutions to address these needs and meet these needs. Part of it is working to secure state and federal funding to support our locally based solutions and programs that we share as a region. And so what you see here are 3 images, 3 examples of this past year where we've been successful in obtaining some federal and state funding for some of our programs, including the SGV Works, which is our workforce development program that focuses on providing supportive services and on-the-job training for at-risk youth, as well as those who are experiencing homelessness, as well as for our SGV Care Mobile Crisis Response Program, which is a mobile response program that provides an alternative response to law enforcement for those who are experiencing mental health crisis. Next slide, please. And moving on to the goal of enhancing, improving the quality of life for the residents of San Gabriel Valley. That's improving the safety, health, and livability for the San Gabriel Valley region. You can see here a list of all of the different programs that COG implements to try to accomplish this. And one that you may be aware of and recall is the Alameda Corridor East Project, and that is our program of grade separation projects. Those of you that may recall the Nogales Street grade separation project opened to traffic in 2005. This is the grade separation closer to Valley Boulevard. And what happened there was we lowered the roadway under the railroad tracks in Valley Boulevard, built a railroad bridge there, and also built a loop connector road that now connects Nogales to Valley Boulevard. The project reduced congestion, improved safety by eliminating the potential for trains and vehicles to collide, and reduce pollution caused by idling cars and vehicles. It also resulted in freeing up of a 4.1 acre piece of land that was a formerly blighted commercial center, which has now been redeveloped to become a medical center. It's called the Nogales Medical and Professional Plaza right there. And finally, the concept, next slide please, sorry. The concept of putting our neighbors first and helping to ensure that all of our neighbors, especially our most vulnerable, have a place to live, a job, and get the care that they need. Our program that includes, one of our programs that includes the City of West Covina is the Broadband Needs Assessment and Strategic Plan that we're implementing currently. And the idea is to really close the digital divide and provide unserved and underserved communities with equal access to reliable and affordable broadband service. So that's one program that we're implementing at the moment. Next slide, please. Now I want to highlight some of the accomplishments and successes that we've had this past year. We've been really fortunate to have and grateful to have tremendous support from our federal, state, and county partners. And so this past year, we've been successful in securing nearly $75 million for funding to support our regional projects and programs that serve our member cities. Next slide, please. And we're really proud of a lot of our programs. The success that we had this past year in our programs include serving over 2,800 clients through our regional homelessness programs and city pilot programs. We relaunched the Go SGV bike share program, enhancing mobility in an affordable, sustainable way. We've put in 105 units of interim tiny homes, interim housing for individuals and families experiencing homelessness in the San Gabriel Valley. We recently broke ground on the SR 5760 Confluence project, and that project is going to be a tremendous game changer, improving safety and addressing the state's worst and the nation's seventh worst truck bottleneck. And a few months ago, we also completed the Fairway Drive grade separation project, and that's located in the City of Industry and the community of Roland Heights, helping to better connect the San Gabriel Valley and improve roadway safety. Next slide, please. So we're also very excited to share with you what we have planned for the upcoming year. And we're looking to continue to improve safety in the region and we will be constructing and starting construction soon on the Turnbull Canyon Road grade separation project. That's in the City of Industry and Hacienda Heights. And then also the Montebello Corridor grade separation project. We also intend to complete the San Gabriel Valley Transit Feasibility Study, which is focused on improving mobility and enhancing mobility options for the region, and identifying and building the infrastructure to support the transit needs of all of our residents in the valley. And then also, finally, we will also be establishing 3 additional food recovery hubs, working with our nonprofit partners, and that is obviously to reduce the food insecurity in the region and and feed our neighbors in need. Next slide, please. We also plan to complete a number of home energy reviews as part of our efficient SGV program, and that's to help residents be more energy efficient and lower those electricity bills. We're looking to also expand our SGV Care mobile crisis program to 3 additional cities. And finally, we're going to be completing the renovations at the Diamond Bar Golf Course. That's part of the 5760 project, and reopen that golf course to the public. Next slide. And that, in a nutshell, is a brief update of the programs that the COGS has been doing this past year and our plans for this upcoming year, which we're really excited about. I just want to take this opportunity to again thank the council for having me today, and of course, grateful to staff for being very supportive and great to work with throughout this time. And so the COG looks forward to continuing the partnership as we work together to enhance the quality of the life of those in the San Gabriel Valley. So with that, my email's up there on the screen. If you'd like to reach out to me to follow up on any of our programs, or if there's any ideas for future collaboration, feel free to reach out. But with that, I'll take any questions you may have. Councilmember Wu.
Okay, yeah. Welcome to West Covina.
Thank you.
Yeah, this is I think the first time you came to our city, and I think it's good. I think the new policy for COG, have their rep. I know Stephanie, the CEO, went to some other cities that you can spread out because COG has 31 cities to serve, so you guys have to spread out. So again, welcome to West Covina. So I've been joining you guys for 3-4 years, represent West Covina, and I think I'm a big mouse on the COG. But I want to continue to try to advocate, about our region. And I've been talking many times, asking for capital improvement for COG to help us on Azusa Avenue to synchronized traffic signal from Azusa 210 and the Covina Metrolink to West Covina 10 Freeway and to La Puente and to the City of Industry 60. So with that north and south, you have so many traffic signal. It's not synchronized. So everybody will idling and create a lot of pollution you hate. And create a lot of waiting, and people don't want to drive on Azusa. So you reduce people taking the Metrolink and the Go line. And this is no east and west. And Azusa is only one in our neighborhood north and south. We need to, I've been asking for 4 years or maybe even longer, to see when, COG can help us because this is 5 cities. West Covina cannot do it itself. We need to have entire from north and south. So maybe you can bring back, I've been request every year when they ask city request, I've been request Azusa Avenue synchronization. And with that, I think we can reduce a lot of traffic on Azusa and make it much smooth. And not only that, if you have a full hill transit, if they have a satellite, if they hit on the Azusa, can become a green light. Hopefully, they can let people to utilize more of the mass transportation and using the Metrolink or Go line. And I think this is a benefit to the region. So would you please bring it back? Say this is something the council been requesting for many years.
Sure, of course, and I appreciate the question, Councilmember Wu. And it's very timely because, as you know, the COG right now is talking to all the cities in the San Gabriel Valley, color projects, if you will. We're having color projects, if you will, trying to assess where we can be helpful. And so, I'll definitely take your suggestion back to the office and see what we can do to help. I understand that signalization may be a multi-jurisdictional solution, and so it'll take working with a number of the cities in the area. I assume Covina and neighboring Azusa, right, along the Azusa Avenue corridor. But that's something that we can definitely look into. As we progress with the San Gabriel Valley Transit Study, there are opportunity for transit signal prioritization as part of that. We're looking at that right now. So there could be some opportunity for that in the very near future. But we'll definitely look into that and start seeing how we can get involved in and help you in any way that we can.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions on the council? Well, thank you very much, Mr. Choi, for being here today.
Great. Thank you for having me.
Have a great day. Before we move on to oral communications, we have an adjournment. We'd like to adjourn in memory of Karan Singh, a West Covina resident who worked at Big Bob's Liquor and Market. He leaves behind his wife and 12-year-old son, who he has worked hard to support in India. Mr. Singh was a community member who was a hard worker and adored by his customers. Thank you. Now we'll move on to oral communications. If you would like to address the council, please fill out your orange card and submit it to our Assistant City Clerk. When you hear your name being called, please start lining up in the center row. The timer will start when your name is called. How many speakers do we have?
We have 8 speaker slips, Mayor.
Okay.
John Shoemaker, followed by Matthew Smith, followed by Jerry Padres. Mr. Shoemaker.
I'm here to talk about the anti-Semitism hate item that is so important to our city manager and to our mayor that it's on the consent calendar. Routine, mundane items. But that's understandable because in the mayor's own household, there's anti-Semitism going on. So why would she bring this up and have to go on the record to say specific items? It's unconscionable. Something this important, I mean, it's just beyond words to just slough it off that way. You know, that's an insult. And to be voted on by a person who in their own home has expressed that if you're Jewish, you want to be a white person. A longtime community member who was Jewish, who was on the Community Service Commission, died. And her own household made a remark, because he was Jewish, he went to hell. Her household. This is a piece of paper that means nothing if you don't all come out and put an end to these comments, to disavow those comments. Tony Wu, when a member of the public got up here and made some comments about a member of the Planning Commission, that because of where he was on the spectrum of autism, that there were certain things that you might have to watch out for, that they might not be aware, that the person himself has admitted. He had no problem spending 5 minutes chastising that person for that comment. Yet, he sits silently when a member of the public refers to Hispanics who are dreamers as cockroaches. Same person, the consul sits silent when that person gets up here and questions our Mayor Pro Tem's ethnic background. I don't care where your parents came from. You're here. You're duly elected. But that's something you don't do. But that just shows the total lack of respect that she has for not just the community, but her colleagues. My daughter was on the school board for a number of years. She was on this council for a couple of years. I had enough respect for her that before I spoke, I'd tell her what I was talking about. And if she said, "Dad, that might upset some of my colleagues, I'd prefer you change it or ignore it." And I did. Now, the mayor will say that she can't stop her husband from making these comments. that shows the lack of respect that this person has for the community and for her and for all of you. This is just a piece of paper being voted on, brought forward that the mayor requested it, and then it's put on the consent calendar instead of having the discussion of what needs to be done and what needs to be said. That's outrageous. It is absolutely outrageous for that to occur. It's insulting to have it on the consent calendar. The comments that the person has made about, well, the mayor herself, I'm a Hispanic woman, but I don't think like them. First of all, who's them? And then this past weekend, what was it, the fire at the fire station saying, hey, let's prevent fires. All you women don't cook. Are you saying women cause fires or only women cook? Do you listen to yourself, or are you stuck in 1950s? I really have to wonder. So hopefully somebody will take it off the consent calendar and actually have a discussion of what's the horrible things that have gone on in the Middle East. Thank you.
Jerry Shoemaker. Matt Smith, followed by Jerry Patras, followed by Douglas Ford.
Good evening, City Council. A couple things tonight. Thank you for hosting Assemblywoman Rubio's job fair at the Senior Center. It was well attended. Parking lot was full, probably for 3 or 4 hours. I know Bunn Street was asked to participate in it, and we received applications from West Covina residents, which was a great matchup for us for getting potential employees and for those looking for work to come to one location and talk to multiple people. So thank you for hosting that. It was a really good event. I also want to thank and say we're appreciative over the meeting we had last Monday in regards to outdoor dining. Doug's going to speak more about the details of that, but we're very appreciative about the collaboration. We've been asking, for that collaboration. The city's certainly stepped up and included us in a meeting, and other businesses there as well. And we spoke about 3 or 4 years ago. Chris Freeland was here about downtown, making Glendora a downtown area. It was a long time ago, and outdoor dining and building the structures that we talked about on Monday is not a downtown area, but it's certainly a baby step into having the businesses create an atmosphere of people walking, having dinner, walking the row. It's certainly a first step. Not as ambitious as what we talked about, 3 or 4 years ago, but I think it's a great place to start. We're very interested in participating in that, and want to thank the City Council for those things. Thank you.
Thank you.
Jerry Patras, followed by Douglas Ford, followed by Phil Marino.
Good evening. Jerry Patras, longtime West Covina resident. Tonight I'm commenting on Agenda Item 6, the fourth quarter financial report, page 4 specifically. I have many questions about and concerns about this report, but I am limiting my questions and concerns tonight to the proposed budget amendment items 1 and 2 on page 4. Item 1, administration, has about almost $260,000 for increases in salaries and benefits. Is my assumption correct that some of that funding is needed for increases in council salaries and benefits and the increases to commission stipends the council approved on September 19th, 2023? If yes, what is the estimated cost? Item 1 also states additional funding is needed to, quote, compensate for the increase in the city attorney contract, end quote. Item 2, human resources, has $130,000 being added to, quote, fund the influx of legal services. The city's legal service expenses are increasing at an alarming rate. The city has a risk manager and a city attorney, yet legal fees skyrocket. Much of the increase appears to be the result of lawsuits and complaints filed by employees. Something is wrong. The situation needs to be fixed. Thank you.
Douglas Ford, followed by Phil Marino, followed by David Schwartz.
Hello, guys, and happy Tuesday. Doug Ford, business owner, resident. I love the city. Want the best for the city. Thank you. Matt and I got an opportunity to meet with Mulan and Paulina, and had a great conversation with them to hopefully build and continue moving forward. On last Monday, we met with Paulina, Mulan, the Planning Commission, Engineering, Police, and Fire. We all met downtown and had a great dialogue with other restaurants down there. Some restaurants couldn't make it. We reached out to them, and we're very excited to see what the city council and what the city is going to be bringing forward on the next agenda to see what we could do about making that downtown area an amazing area. So thank you guys so much for considering that. We truly appreciate it as the businesses down there. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Phil Marino, followed by David Schwartz, followed by Jim Grivich.
My name is Phil Moreno, and this is addressed to the City of West Covina, the West Covina City Council, and the current West Covina City Manager. Subject: the City of West Covina is in violation of Title IX, and Tony Wu and item number 10 on tonight's city agenda again fails to set up a plan to comply with Title IX. 2022 marks the 50th anniversary of the breakthrough law in the United States. The 1972 federal law required that women would have equal rights to athletics and sports. Yet the City of West Covina has failed to develop a plan to comply with this federal law. I'm giving each of you members a copy of what I'm going to read. That'll be the third page. It's from the ACLU dated October the 21st of 2003. Today at 11 a.m., the American Civil Liberties Union of Southern California announced the filing of a class action lawsuit to end discriminatory treatment of girls softball players in the city of La Puente. The legal complaint filed by the ACLU Southern California in federal court today claims that the girls are, quote, being denied equal and adequate access to city-owned resources made available to the local boys baseball league on the basis of their gender. The case was filed by 9 girls on behalf of all girls who play softball in the city of La Puente. The 9 plaintiffs range in age from 9 to 17 years. This week, as we watch the nation's most competitive teams play in the World Series, we're putting the city on notice that boys aren't the only ones with big league dreams. Says, and her name is spelled Natarajan, staff attorney for the ACLU. The girls of La Puente deserve better than this. They deserve an equal playing field. The suit documents the blatant inequality that exists between the facilities used by local boys teams and girls softball team. The city has 1 baseball field for the girls at Cameron Park. The other 2 fields there are from the school district. Every other park is dedicated to boys' Little League. For example, boys enjoy fields with level grass and dirt, bullpen areas, new and operational concession stands, stadium lighting for night games, metal bleachers, clean restrooms, paved parking lots, equipment storage space, scoreboards, functional sound systems, and are maintained at least on part by the city. The girl fields lacks each on any of these attributes. The girls, their parents, and coaches have made repeated public requests to city officials. I did that in 2008. My daughter lost her house in Hesperia. My grandkids came and lived with me. They went to Cameron School. Softball sign was up to sign up. My daughter said, I'll never take my girls there again. To go to a porta potty and not have a place to wash her hands and then go to a snack bar? She took them to San Dimas. You got to see what they have for girls there at Lone Hill Park. It's just unbelievable what the city lacks for girls. The city has consistently denied these requests and failed to improve the girls' facilities. These girls face some daunting challenges in their communities, said Soli Perez, staff attorney for the ACLU. Whereas the average high school female dropout at a rate in the entire state at 2.5%, the dropout rate in the Hacienda La Puente Unified School District is more than 3 times that amount at 7.7%. Experts agree that girls who participate in extracurricular activities, especially sports, substantially decrease their risk of dropping out of school. These girls have plenty of hurdles to overcome. Having to fight City Hall to gain the respect and equality they legally are entitled to should not be added to that list. Girls leave La Puente to play in other softball leagues, just like my grandkids went up to San Dimas. They have better facilities at other cities, said Amrit Avila, a 17-year-old pitcher on a team called Girls in Black. If we had better facilities, we could play better.
Thank you.
And get noticed by the recruiters.
Thank you.
Excuse me, David Schwartz, followed by Jim Grivich, followed by R. Robinson.
Thank you, everyone, and thank you for your moment of silence for the murders that happened in Israel. Also, I want to say ahead of time, thank you for already accepting the resolution that you on item 2. I'm here. Unfortunately, the executive director, Jason Moss, was unable to be here tonight, so he asked me to deliver his comments. So these comments are going to be from him. And you probably already heard them because you guys already said yes to that. Good evening, and thank you for your opportunity to share these remarks with you. My name is Jason Moss, and I am the executive director of Jewish Federation of the Greater San Gabriel and Pomona Valleys. Our mission is to strengthen and enhance the Jewish life in our community, and we also serve the Jewish voice for our community in an area that covers a total of 48 cities, from Glendale to Rancho Cucamonga, south to Whittier, and within the role, it is within his role, in this role, that I am sharing these remarks with you. Sorry, I just looked at this a few minutes ago. Even without the current situation that is taking place in Israel, Jews are scared and afraid of being targeted because of who they are. Often considered to be the oldest form of hatred, anti-Semitism has hit levels not seen since before World War II. In case you were not aware, the Anti-Defamation League does an annual audit of the number of reported anti-Semitic incidents and attacks. And over the last 6 years, they reported 300% increase, 1,267 reported hate incidents, including harassment, vandalism, and attacks. In 2016, that was attacks in 2016, and 3,697 reported incidents in 2022. And we know anecdotally that these figures are probably at least 2 to 3 times higher because they do not include incidents that often go unreported each year. Here in California alone, there was a 41% increase of incidents between 2021 and 2022. It is for this reason that I and our local Jewish Federation decided something needed to be done locally to combat anti-Semitism and all forms of hatred. As such, I wrote an ed piece sharing that the Jewish community needed allies to stand with us. I also reached out to Mayor Diaz and her 47 other mayor colleagues in the greater San Gabriel and Pomona Valleys to ask that their cities stand with the Jewish community and pass resolutions denouncing anti-Semitism and all form of hatred. As city leaders, I'm also asking you to use your voice tonight. Stand up and publicly state that the city of West Covina stands with those targeted, and that you will not tolerate hate of any kind within your city. That is, passing the resolution will show. And by doing that, you will add West Covina to the list of 25 other cities in the greater San Gabriel and Pomona valleys who have already taken these actions. And since we know that you cannot legislate away anti-Semitism, racism, and any forms of hatred, additional steps must be taken. I strongly encourage the city of West Covina to bring together representatives from various targeted groups to share ideas and work with your city's leadership to develop a robust city-wide plan to address, combat, and respond to all the forms of hatred. And I would also encourage you to commit to participating in the United Against Hate Week, which is November 12th through the 18th this year. But first, make a statement and commit tonight by adopting the resolution before you and show that all forms of hatred, including anti-Semitism, has no place in West Covina. Thank you very much, and I don't have enough time to say what I wanted to say. But
Thank you.
This was more important. Thank you very much.
Jim Grivich, followed by R. Robinson, followed by Sarah Love.
Jim Grivich, here to speak about the fourth quarter report. Those of you that have been on the council for a while have heard this same speech before. Once again, the city of West Covina is doing serious deficit spending. Fourth quarter report shows $3.4 million spent, more than received. As I've said before, this is a serious problem. And what I'm really concerned about is I don't see any action plan. I don't see any attempt at resolution. It's just, oh well. And that's very disturbing. For example, each and every year I've got up and said legal expenses have been going up at a rapid rate. What are we doing to fix it? And guess what? They keep going up at a rapid rate. We do nothing to fix it. Actually, we make it worse by doing things that bring suits against the city that cost a lot of money. I actually feel this is fiscally irresponsible. Somebody should be paying attention. Somebody should be worried about the behaviors that cause these problems. Almost all of them are suits of employees against the city. That's kind of disgraceful, actually. The other issue that keeps coming up, some things don't go away, is fire department overdrafts. And if you look carefully at the report, it doesn't look like it's that bad this year. But the report doesn't mention that during the year, the fire department budget was augmented by over $1 million. So what appears to be a relatively small overdraft is actually a $1.5 million overdraft every year. Same department, same amount of money. And it doesn't seem to matter how much their budget is, because their budget goes up every single year by significant amounts of money. There's always a huge overdraft. What's disturbing is I see no effective action. And I am just hoping that the city council will pay attention and do something. And, you know, there's smaller things. You know, you've heard residents complain about Sportspike losing money. Well, that's a legitimate complaint. Maybe something should be done about it. You know, $500,000 subsidy is a lot, big subsidy. Something should be done about that. So, you know, it doesn't sound like a lot of money, but when you start adding up all these problems, it adds up to a lot of money. So I sincerely hope that the city council finds it necessary to ask staff to come forward with a plan to make sure that expenditures and revenues are balanced, even, and stop the deficit spending. Yes, the last couple of years you had a reprieve because you had extra revenues, but that was only temporary. We're back to normal now. and something has to be done. The last thing I wanted to say is the elephant in the room on this whole subject is retirement costs. One of the reasons why the city faces eternal money issues is because retirement costs keep going up rapidly, much higher than inflation, much higher than your revenue. So it's necessary, because of that, for the city to constantly have to do things to reduce expenditures in other areas to hold things even. And it shouldn't be forgotten what's going on. If it isn't, and that's why I bring it up every year and talk about it. You have twice as many retirees as you have active employees. Those active employees are the people that pay for the retiree. It doesn't work. The math doesn't work. You have extremely generous benefits that were passed by the city council many years ago, way before you were on the council. Being able to retire at age 50 with full salary, that's an unbelievable benefit. That's why your average fireman costs $300,000 a year, because of that. Because you have to pay for both the actives and the retirees. So, anyway, that's my hope you listen this time.
R. Robinson, followed by Sarah Love, followed by Bethany Froman.
Maria Z. and Dr. Anna Mahalcha reports today on Stu Peters' network, Defense Advanced Research Projects Agency, DARPA, has put artificial life, robotics, inside humans. Legal action commences on this. Imagine living cells with a micro-robot inside. The DARPA biology and electronics combined turns a human into an electronic transmitter antenna, pushing synthetic biology as a future development similar to that experienced by an electrical integrated circuit design in electronics. Your body becomes your cell phone. Who asked for this? Cutting-edge synthetic biology today is the development of artificial cells enabled, among others, by the tools of nanotechnology, including artificial blood cell production. New methods of warfighting include microwaves and weather modification schemes. In 2018, Dr. James Giordano delivered a disturbing lecture at West Point about the human brain, AI-driven propaganda being the battlefield of the future, fifth-generation warfare. I encourage interested West Covina residents to pray that Almighty God will, in the mysterious ways in which He works, provide for the spiritual and material needs of lawyers and litigants around the world who are preparing cases that will directly challenge the legal foundations of ongoing DARPA-sponsored military medical warfare programs and draw the moral illegitimacy of these legal foundations further into public understanding. We need to understand the solution to the problem in order to work towards solutions. Years of bioweapons inoculations without informed consent, a violation of the Nuremberg Code against medical experimentation on people as guinea pigs. PCR tests were not designed to diagnose illness. The polymerase chain reaction test is described in the media as the gold standard for COVID diagnosis. But the Nobel Prize winner Kary Mullis, inventor of the process, never intended it to be used as a diagnostic tool, and said so publicly many times. International law protects international trade. Private foundations that currently authorize governments to torture and kill people with legal impunity by blocking civil and criminal prosecution by using communitarian law and a compromised, a bought judiciary, including treaties such as the 1944 WHO and 2005 amendments to the WHO International Health Regs that entered into force in 2007. Nikki Rapana, founder of the Anti-Communitarian League, related to community policing and originating as the Violent Crimes Act of 1984 of the Clinton administration. This protects global trading rights and creates a supranational system of values that overrules all national laws, gathers data on people, and therefore we have no privacy. You're an asset to be manipulated, and as an individual with individual rights, you're a problem, and constitutional law be damned. So that's what the communitarian law is all about. I'll skip that. All of our basic liberties are in jeopardy, and the Declaration of Independence discusses unalienable rights granted humans by God. The courts of heaven are adjudicating the principal scamdemic matters now. Surely human courts will examine the evidence and discern the truths of these health-related.
Thank you, Mr. Robinson.
Sarah,
let me finish my sentence. Health-related atrocities, justice on earth for innocent non-combatants.
Thank you.
Sarah Love, followed by Bethany Fromm.
Mm-hmm.
Hello, I'm Sarah Love. I've been MIA for a while. Some of it's because I take care of my terminally ill husband, and some, I work. But really, I've been disgusted by this council since the beginning of the year. We've got division, chaos, all this nonsense. So, I felt like it was a waste of my time to come here. I have been a community member in District 1, Service Area 1 for 20 years. I bought my house about 20 years ago. And we're a tight-knit community in District 1 and Service Area 1. Okay, so I am here today because we have had a murder that was around the block from my house, and my children were out front when that happened. And it hit us all very deeply. I mean, we go in that store all the time. We know those guys. They order special stuff for us, and they're our community members, okay? My kids have been going there since they were born. So this really hit home for us, and we felt, like a lot of us have felt like, where were y'all? They were interviewing us on the news and stuff, and maybe, since I'm banned from West Covina Buzz, maybe I haven't seen y'all, but we didn't feel like anyone's there. And I know you had a meeting, but you already had the meeting scheduled, and your policies will not bring justice for that 17-year-old. He's going to walk, and you're all for it. So we don't feel like you have our back, and you're not even in our service area. So that's towards Tabai. But the rest of you guys, this hits home. We're close. We're West Covina. I didn't hear anyone say anything. Maybe I just didn't hear it. So I'm glad to hear that our city stood up against Whitey Gascon's no cash bail. But as far as I know, and I haven't gone back and listened to this myself, but I would like to have heard more from you, Tony, when it comes to that. We already know where Brian's stance is. It's like a blanket all or none ideology, and you can't have that. We feel like we have to pretty much take care of ourselves. We have a great police department, but once again, y'all haven't funded it properly. We need patrolmen. I don't blame our police department for anything. You guys determine what their budget is. So, that upsets us too. But this really hit home for a lot of us. And We go in the liquor store now. We have 4 guys there letting us know they're going to keep us safe. Well, they're afraid that this other guy is still on the loose. And we're afraid. We think he's, a lot of us think he's got ties to our community because the other guy, the juvenile, who will probably have no consequences, is in East LA. So we're all watching. We're all afraid. And this really rattled us. So I would like to hear more from all of you about this. And we need some more police officers to protect us from Gascon. We don't have a good sheriff anymore. We have the horrible, evil board of supervisors. We need protection from them and their policies. We've all gotten our own protection too in our houses, but we need that. You guys have to protect us from that. They're too big and powerful. And I also want to let everyone know there's a memorial fund for the victim's family. I will post the QHR code on West Covina forum, and residents take back our neighborhood. And I really hope that everybody comes together for his family in India. So that being said, I'm done.
Bethany Fromm, followed by Mr. G.
To tie into what she was speaking about, I also live around the block with her, and I've grown up going to Big Bob's Liquor. It's been a part of my childhood, honestly, and it's just really disappointing that the council has dragged their feet in talking about this. And like she said, why are you not speaking about it on the news? You only now spoke about it tonight, and it's been a week and a half since this has happened. And to have the media blur out the faces or the face of the 17-year-old is honestly horrifying to me. I'm 20. I was 17 3 years ago. And even I know that to murder someone based on, 3 buzzballs, $60 worth of merchandise is just sickening to me. And they committed a permanent act. Karan's family will never have him again. And they need to have permanent repercussions for that. The fact that the city council and mayor have stayed silent for a week and a half and not spoke about it publicly, not done anything about it, and would rather talk about the humanitarian crisis in Israel. I don't at all want to downplay the horrors of what is happening in Israel right now, but this is West Covina. We need to talk about our problems that we are dealing with before we can discuss world peace. So thank you.
Mr. G.
Good evening, Council, Mayor, Pro Tem, Councilman, Councilwoman, Assistant City Manager, and City Attorney. I asked a question a couple of months ago. What constitutes a citizen or resident of West Covina? And if they're not citizens or residents of West Covina, why are we assisting them? Are we trying to make them feel good? The homeless? Everybody's welcome in the city of West Covina, but in baseball, 3 strikes, you're out. So if you're just standing around the corner, there are vagrancy laws. If we enforce the small things, in New York City, they started enforcing people jumping over the barriers. They forced them into court, off the street. The city got better. What happened over here? Because we don't do what's on the books. We want to feel good because we happen to one time lose our home or one time lose our job. So I understand that compassion. So if people want to be compassionate with the homeless, invite them into your house or have them stand in your driveway. See how they act. See if they're going to be respectful. I've actually done this in my home because I want the best for everybody. And when that man left, he thanked me because he got his act together. So when individuals take the responsibility, individuals grow. Groups don't. Statistics. That was great, the statistics they showed there of whatever number it was, but statistics don't solve problems. They create more. Government is made to make statistics. Think about it. They're going to say, oh, we need more people because we have this. We're going to have to hire these people because we want this. Because the statistics say. The one thing I remember from college really well, white lies, black lies, lies, lawyers, politicians, and the worst ones were statisticians. But really, I'm starting to find out as I grew older, some people who utilize the statistics for their advantage or disadvantage. Now, Pauline Morales, I have a question for you. When a city employee or a contractor drives a city vehicle or drives a contract vehicle, are they allowed to supersede ADA laws, or because it says California exempt, they have the right to park in the handicap zone with no repercussion or nobody says anything? Don't answer now, but just as I've seen multiple times at the place where the assistant manager has gone, and I see West Covina vehicles, no handicap, parked in the ADA parking spaces. If you like, I can bring you the photographs. I've seen multiple times ADA spaces taken up by city contractors. When the city gets its act together by doing the right thing and holding standards, you set those standards. You're responsible for it. And we do that, everybody comes together and everybody wins and everybody wants the best. But there are a few people that don't. So they have to feel uncomfortable, where it's the presence of the police officer being there. As a small child, I was constantly being asked if I belonged in the neighborhood. Didn't bug me because I belonged in the neighborhood. But they were doing their job, making sure that I didn't have to lock my door. I didn't have my cars weren't broken into. They were actively policing. But because of policies now, we have to be nice and friendly. It's not discrimination. It's proper police procedures. Stopping somebody who doesn't look like in the area. That's like if I'm in a area where I don't look like I belong, if they stop me, if I have legitimate business, I'm there. If I'm just causing problem.
Thank you.
JD.
Good evening. I too am interested in that Mother May I from Ms. Viado regarding homeless individuals residing here in West Covina as opposed to not. And I heard the city attorney said he would address that Mother May I first week of this month. So I don't want to pass up the opportunity to come up and put my 2 cents in. Homeless individuals, by definition, have no residency. So they can't be West Covina residents. They may have lived here at one time before being homeless, but if they find themselves today as homeless, they are homeless. Not only in Baldwin Park, West Covina, or the other side of the United States. They're homeless. They do not have a place of permanent residency. Unless you were referring to their legal status. I heard the speaker before me some time back referred to homeless that are not citizens as not really having the right to have assistance. If that's what you're advocating, you may want to consider someone that lives in Baldwin Park may even be undocumented. Mom, 2 children, running from an abusive husband, or vice versa, that comes over to West Covina because it's a little safer. Are you willing to tell them, no, we can't give you shelter, temporary shelter, try to help you, place you in a domestic violence protective setting? Why did you want to know about whether these homeless are residents of West Covina or, if I'm mistaken, have some sort of legal residency. The money that is allocated to the homeless population, if it's from the federal government, it comes with regulations and policies that the city has to execute. Likewise for the state, county, and I would imagine here in the city you can go ahead and formulate your own policies with regards to the homeless. But I don't think the Jews nor Muslims, and certainly not Christianity, endorses the idea that a homeless is something less than any of you five sitting up there. Now, I know from what I've inferred that most of you profess Christianity. You have a cross, as I do, hanging on your chest, Mayor. So I'm assuming that there must be compassion somewhere in there. You say you want to help the homeless, but then you have a Mother May I that implies that we here in West Covina will only take care of our residents. Well, they're not residents. They're homeless. They don't have a place of permanent residency. Whether they lived here at one time or not, it's irrelevant. Thank you.
No further speaker slips, Mayor.
Thank you. Assistant City Manager, can you address some of the issues or questions they
Yes.
had?
Good evening, Mayor and fellow council members. I'm going to try to get to respond to all of them. Thank you to Matt and Doug for coming up. It was a good meeting regarding the outdoor dining. So, we appreciate the businesses that were able to attend that meeting and provide feedback. We always appreciate the feedback from our business community and working in partnership with you guys. In regards to some of the comments on item number, the quarterly financial report. So the increase for the administration cost was a reflection of the increase to the city attorney's contract. And so when that contract was amended, that was mentioned that it would be reflected in the budget, and that's what that reflects that increase in the contract. In regards to, I believe, Jim Grivich's comments regarding the item number 6, for the city's fund balance policy, the city shall maintain a minimum unassigned fund balance of at least 17% of the general fund operating expenditures. At the end of the fiscal year, the annual excess revenue over expenditures in the city's general fund are allocated as follows, unless a transfer is overridden by action of the council. 25 stays in the general fund balance reserves, 40 is transferred to the capital improvement projects fund, 10% is transferred to the vehicle replacement fund, and 25 goes to pay down other post-employment benefit liabilities. So based on the ending balance as of June 30th, 2022, the council approved a total budget of $5.3 million transferred out per the policy, 2.8 for the capital improvement projects, 714,000 transferred to the vehicle replacement fund, and 1.7 million transferred to the post-employment benefit liabilities. And then the last 1.7 stayed within the general fund. So I hope I helped answer those questions regarding the fourth quarter financial. It's very sad and tragic what happened to Karan Singh at Big Bob's liquor store here in our community. It's a tragic loss for all of us, even if he may not be in our district, but he was a community member regardless, and we feel that loss, and we are there, in spirit for his family and send our prayers. I know that the majority of the council, just at the last council meeting, voted to partake in a lawsuit against some of the actions by the county to that may limit the ability of our police officers or impact the safety of our community. And so the majority of our council does believe, or like I said, has taken those actions to protect our community and provide our police officers with the resources that they need to do their jobs in serving our residents. Mr. G, I will take a look at this handicap parking by our staff. I will address that with staff, and I believe that some of the homeless questions were provided, that were requested by Councilwoman Lopez Viado, were provided to the council already. And so I believe I've addressed all of the public comment.
Councilwoman Lopez Viado.
Okay, so I wanted to bring two issues. As for the homeless issue, you guys all know my stance with that. I'd love to help those that want the help, and that those that don't should not be a burden to our residents and to our city. As for the homeless, I am being proactive. As you know, the Olympics is coming to LA. And with that being said, you all know I work for the city of LA, and I've already seen the insight, is that they're pushing the homeless to the San Gabriel Valley area. And there's an influx of this, and it will continue. And so therefore, it's not fair for the city or our residents to burden an influx of homeless that, that will continue to come. The homeless situation, we're spreading it. As for anything that in reference to, abuse or any of that, that is obviously a priority to be taken care of, family, kids. And we do have those programs in sight for that assistant. But my issue as for the influx, it is not fair for us, again, to burden these. Now, the reason why I requested this is because, well, how do you differentiate between homeless? I understand they do not have a home. But the reason what I'm saying is that they're here, they either became homeless, they were a resident here, or they have some ties to West Covina, whether a family member or, you know what, they didn't live here, but they came back to the city because, where they went to school here, or for whatever reason, that they had certain ties. Now, I can have our city attorney to kindly brief as the update, because I know that there is a current pending case in the court situation in regards to this, but the city attorney can explain that further. So that is my, when I mean like citizen of West Covina, is what ties and what ties that they have to the city, and if they're residents. We always want to take care, obviously our priority to take care of our own, and then if we are able to, funding or any additional resources, if you can take care of yourself first, then you can take care of others. So that is the concept of that. As for the murder situation, we have no control of the media. If we want to say, hey, let us speak, we want to comment or anything like that, the media decides who they wish to put on screen, who not to. And even if you do, they probably won't use anything that you say. I know that the council were on this, that hearing this was devastating news. They did inform us, but again, we have a wonderful police department. They were on top of it. And, the first thought I thought of is like our flock camera that we majority approved for this, that I'm hoping that they caught this and so forth. But I will put in a request towards the end, Mother, may I request to get an update. But the residents are informed of what occurred because a press release was given out from our city. So that it was out there to let them know this occurred, this arrest was made, and so forth. I did have concerning thoughts, with the 17-year-old, because obviously those that heard me from before, I've had 2 murders that occurred at my facility, and these were youth, a 14-year-old murdering a 16-year-old. So, I've gone through this, and everyone knows where I stand when it comes to public safety. I'd like to have, like acting, I just want to let people know that, Acting Chief Cortina currently has now ties inside to Gascon's office, where he's pushing some of our cases that, we put in, we made arrests, they ignored it. And if there's multiple cases that keeps occurring by an individual, we push it. We're not giving up. We're working hard on the back end so that these cases can get filed. But that could be a request that I would also like to make, that Acting Chief Cortina brings that information to play. But residents would love to know what consequences that occurs, because from what I've been seeing, a lot of these acts of deeds have been occurring by minors, which, I hear it in my neighborhood of work is, they give it to them because the consequences are less severe. So let the public know, what consequences are they actually getting? We have the right to know. I mean, they are invading our space, or probably we'd like to know. And as for our police, funding's there. When there was that movement of defund police, I mean, you've heard that. Majority of the council, we were like, no, we're not going to defund the police. We're not going to go to that, because we saw that happen as soon as they defunded the police and all that chaos and all this happened. So we have funding for the police, and we are fully support. The majority of the council are fully support. We hired 10 more. There is recruitment happening. So if you know officers that want to be police officers, bring them on in. But I know, generally speaking, including, LAPD or any other police officers out there, nobody wants to be a police officer anymore. And can you blame them? So, we do have openings. And if you know of people who want to be an officer, come on in. West Covina will take you in, but of course, not just anybody. We want quality police officers, because we understand, there are bad ones too. So I just wanted to make note of those two issues and two concerns of this. But again, those that know me, and I know everybody hits Mayor Pro Tem Tabatabai, but I've always said he and I are night and day on when it comes to these policies. So whatever you see on his end, my end is the complete opposite. But I just wanted to let people know that we are there. We hear you. We are concerned about safety issues, and I'd like to, just mention that. So thank you for that. I know one of the speaker mentioned about the girls' sports. I guess we can talk about that when that agenda comes up. But I just wanted to note that when I was there at the girls' opening softball last year, it was beautiful. All the girls, there was tons of girls, and it was so exciting to see a bunch of girls play. I did speak to the people who oversees the program, and that wasn't a concern that this was brought up about not having, because we want to make sure it's fair. Girls have their right and ability to play. They had other concerns that which we fixed, but in regards to playing time, that wasn't never an issue that was brought up when I was there and dealt with them. So I just wanted to acknowledge those three things. So thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Okay, let's move on to our city manager's report.
We have a really brief one this evening. So we have been working on this. We brought back in April a report to the council regarding street sweeping. We currently have street sweeping services twice a month, and we were directed to go back to the community, get some community input about switching it to weekly street sweeping. We had those community meetings. We went back to our street sweeping vendor. We came up with some revised routes, and so we're going to have a community meeting this Thursday at 6 p.m. In the community room outside to let the residents have a look and get feedback on the revised routes for weekly street sweeping. So that's this Thursday in the community chambers, and then we have some upcoming events. We have Let's Get Crafty Family Pumpkin Party Thursday, October 19th at the Shadow Oak Community Center. The Quanes Cocktoberfest this Saturday, October 21st at 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. at the Eastland Center. The Reading Adventure Pandas Halloween Night, October 24th from 4 to 7 p.m. also at Shadow Oak Community Center. The Senior Center Halloween Bash, Friday, October 27th from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. at Cortez Park. And then our big Festival of Frights on October 28th on downtown Glendora Avenue. So that's a fun event for all. We have a costume contest for all age groups, so we hope to see the community there. And that's it for me this evening.
Thank you. Okay, let's move on to our consent calendar. 1 through 9, does anyone want to pull anything? Nobody? Do I have a motion? Oh, yeah.
I don't want to pull. I just want to note that I'm going to be a no on item number 3.
Okay.
I move 1 to 9. Approve.
Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a motion by Councilman Wu and a second by Mayor Pro Tem Tabatabai to approve consent calendar items 1 through 9. Councilman Contos?
Aye.
Councilman Wu? Councilwoman Lopez Viado.
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Tabatabai, with the exception of no on item number 3.
Aye.
Mayor Diaz.
Aye.
Consent calendar items pass 5-0 with the exception of item number 3, which passes 4-1. For the record, item number 3 is first 1-year extension of time for precise plan number 20-08 and tentative parcel map track 83, tentative parcel map number 83444 at 1211 East Badillo Street. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, let's move on to item number 10. Who's going to be giving that presentation?
Roxanne Lerma, our Assistant City Manager, will be providing the report.
Good evening, Mayor, members of the City Council. This item was actually brought before you at the request of Councilman Wu. He had requested that the staff provide the City Council with a review of the Sports Council bylaws as well as athletic facility use allocation procedures. So what we're going to be discussing tonight is really just a review of what is currently on the books, what is happening in real time as far as the procedures are concerned, and what are some of the requirements around reserving the facilities, especially for our youth league. So we hope to remove the veil of mystery that seems to be around this process. So just a little bit of background. The West Covina Sports Council was created for the purpose of promoting organized youth sports activity within the community. And it is actually comprised of one voting member of each of the nonprofit leagues that are identified in the bylaws. And what it is there's a relationship. There's a relationship and understanding between the Sports Council, again, one representative from each of the major youth leagues, and the city in order to best afford opportunities for athletic play for our youth. The resolution that was adopted to institute this relationship really took place back in 1957. And so, we're a little ahead of ourselves. And so, the purpose of the Sports Council was to allow for cooperative planning, cooperative play, setting up uniform schedules for the leagues, and then generally acting as a policy-making group for the leagues. Again, a sounding board, a relationship between the youth organizations and the city. The duties of the ex officio members of the council, of the Sports Council, are as follows. Again, acting as a liaison between the council and, at the time, the Parks and Recreation Commission, which was replaced by the Senior and Community Services Commission, to present the league's problems to that commission, and then again to assist the council with their work on the school districts. Again, cooperative relationships, cooperative understanding, and working together to maximize the field space so that it's equitable for all of the leagues. The Sports Council bylaws, however, have been amended several times over the past 2 decades, and the current version that we're operating under was actually amended back on February 26, 2013. So that is currently that is the current version that we are using. The Sports Council bylaws dictate the following processes to the Sports Council: the purpose, membership, meetings, officers, election of officers, businesses, and any amendments. Again, we're emphasizing the purpose is to maintain those cooperative relationships between the city, the leagues, and the community as a whole. The Sports Council does meet regularly. There is an annual meeting that is outlined in the Sports Council bylaws that takes place in November of each year. And it's that meeting that their officers are elected. And then the meetings are also held periodically on the 4th Tuesday of the month, unless it's declared dark. And so it's typically 3 to 4 times a year, including that one annual meeting that's held in the month of November. From time to time, the Sports Council and the city do ask to meet outside of that, and if there's consensus among the groups, we do allow those meetings to occur. And really, again, it's just to promote cooperation and cooperative play. The officers of the Sports Council consist of a chairperson, a vice chairperson, and then a community services designee that acts as a secretary. The election of officers are held in November, and they maintain that role for a period of 1 year. In the event of a vacancy, we do require a majority vote of the Sports Council in order to fill that vacancy. All requests by member organizations shall be submitted to the Sports Council in duplicate, 1 copy to be retained by the secretary and 1 copy for the Sports Council agencies. So the reason we do that is, again, just to make sure that we are memorializing what is happening, what is occurring, what those requests are. And then any amendments, any changes requires a 3/4 vote of the organizations in attendance and 2 consecutive meetings. So I think one of the major benefits of being a member of the Sports Council really comes down to the fee exemptions. And so, according to the fee schedule, Sports Council leagues are provided use of city athletic facilities at no charge in exchange for in-kind maintenance. And what I'd like to point out is the degree of maintenance really does vary from league to year, from league to league, and has varied over the years. To be eligible for the free use of city facilities, Sports Council leagues are required to maintain at least 65% West Covina residency on their season roster and have 12 teams or 132 players. This qualifying criteria was approved by the City Council in 2010 and then 2012 reaffirmed. By supporting Sports Council leagues with free facility use, the goal was really to help ensure that children have recreational, skill building, and competitive opportunities to engage in sports. So at the time that this relationship continues to be affirmed and reaffirmed, what the council is saying, what the city of West Covina is saying, is that we recognize the importance of allowing for these young athletes to have access to these park facilities and to remove those barriers that the city can that would give them that access. There is a procedure for the facility allocations. Now, it's not a blanket because I'm a member of the Sports Council that I automatically get to use this field. This is the prioritized list. So number 1, all City of West Covina sponsored or co-partnered activities. That's the first place priority. Number 2 is the members of the City of West Covina Sports Council in good standing. And then number 3, other unless directed otherwise by the city manager. So the city does have flexibility. The city does maintain that authority that in the event that there is direction that's needed or change needs to be made, that the city manager can authorize that to happen. So again, City of West Covina is number 1 priority in the sense it's a sponsored event or co-partnered activity. And then number 2, that special relationship that I described earlier between the City of West Covina and the West Covina Sports Council member leagues that are in good standing. So youth leagues and their facility assignments are prioritized as follows. So we're going in from prioritizing by groups and then prioritizing the seasons, the individual leagues. So first priority is full compliance in season organization. Second priority, full compliance non-in-season organizations. And then third, residency percentage based on formula. So let's talk a little bit about the seasons. Let's talk about how we define what is a sport in season and who is in season when. So if you take a look at the bottom row, sports in season. In the fall, we follow the traditional seasons, football and soccer. In the spring, baseball and softball. Now, at the time that the allocation procedures and the bylaws were created, sports tended to follow those traditional seasons. Where it gets a little bit sticky now is that you tend to have winter ball, or you tend to have more of your travel ball teams that operate outside of those traditional seasons. And so because park space, because field use is limited, sometimes there's a little bit of overlapping. And that's when we go back to which season is in season, which sport is in season, and that would be the league that would take priority. So there's two application periods, if you will, for these youth leagues that participate in the Sports Council. And this is what is dictated in the bylaws. So, and in the facility allocation and use procedures. So it requires the applications for use that each league submit a facility use from September 1st through November 30th for Springfield use, and March 1st through May 31st for fall field use. Leagues missing these deadlines still have access to remaining fields on an as-needed basis only. So what we're saying is, if you miss a deadline, we get it. We're still going to allocate those fields, and what is left, we'll go back and discuss with you. It's important that staff follows what's in the Sports Council bylaws, as well as what is dictated in the facility allocation procedures, because that's where things get lost and that's where the water gets muddy. City staff is responsible for reviewing the applications, making sure that fields are allocated equitably, and making sure that the field allocations are reviewed and discussed twice a year with the Sports Council. So let's talk about documents. Let's talk about what is needed from those Sports Council leagues in order to maintain their good standing status. So the first one, Board of Directors roster, master calendar events, league roster, league schedules of play, copy of league bylaws, AB 2404 information sheet, proof of nonprofit status, copy of liability, and a deposit. So over the years, because you operate and you work with nonprofit groups and you work with boards that are made up of primarily volunteers, right? You have parents who are stepping in, grandparents who are stepping in, friends, family members who volunteer to be on a board. They're doing it out of the goodness of their hearts, not necessarily a person who specializes in this. Sometimes things get lost. Sometimes things get overlooked. And for a number of years, the city has taken the stance to be a little bit softer with that, to be a little bit more understanding in the spirit of working with these individual leads to getting them towards compliance. In addition to that, when you had the pandemic, things kind of took a stop and things took a pause everywhere. And so the city staff has been working towards getting these leagues back into track and collecting these documents. These are your members of the Sports Council. Junior All-American Bruins Football and Cheer, West Covina American Little League, West Covina Pony Baseball, West Covina National Little League, Pacific Coast Little League, West Covina Youth Soccer, West Covina Girls Softball. And then, of course, Duke's Baseball is recognized by the Sports Council. However, Duke's Baseball operates under a separate user agreement that is currently under review. Staff also wanted to take this opportunity to provide to you what is happening now, what is the current, where these leagues are currently playing for this past calendar year. So in January 2023, a field allocation meeting was held, and here's the table that illustrates for you where each league is playing. So for example, Cameron Park Baseball Field, West Covina Girls Softball. Cortez Park, you have both West Covina American Little League and then, of course, Bruins Football. Del Norte Park, you have National Little League. Friendship Park, you have Pony Baseball and you also have the Bruins football. Orangewood Soccer Complex, you have West Covina Youth Soccer. Palmview Park, you have Pacific Coast Little League. And then you also have West Covina Youth Soccer at Palmview Park as well. Shadow Oak, there are a number of leagues that utilize Shadow Oak and share the spaces. That would be West Covina American Little League, Pacific Coast Little League, and Bruins football. And then Shadow Oak softball field is also utilized by the West Covina girls softball and Bruins football. And then Walmarado Park pony baseball. So this table illustrates the use of those fields, the time frames that they are used, and again, really just trying to maximize that space and taking a look at our athletic facilities, our fields, the assets that we do have in those parks, in those public spaces. It really is at its peak. We are starting to, the leagues are starting to outgrow those spaces. Let's talk a little bit about immediate next steps. Because these documents are a little bit of a scavenger hunt, one of the things that staff is making the effort to do is to really create something that's a little bit more user-friendly, something that's more accessible, something that we can post on the city's website, again, just to lift that veil of mystery that comes with field allocations in the Sports Council bylaws. And then the other thing that we are working towards and we are enforcing is we're requiring full compliance of all leagues in order to obtain a fee waiver and instituting the penalties for the missed deadlines. Again, it's been a number of years since the city followed that to a T, whether it was in the spirit of goodwill or what have you, that is what was occurring. I'm available for any questions that you may have.
Councilwoman Leti Lopez.
I just wanted to bring this up. The Sports Council has had issues before I got into council. Matter in fact, I was sitting as a community and senior service commissioner for many years, and this was brought up in our commission meeting. One of our commission board actually would attend. He was a sports council member. So I know that they amended in 2013 because we were pushing for these things. They were not adhering to the bylaws. They were taking advantage. They weren't working together. It was chaos even before, and that's why when I got in, I made this request, but I know we've had changes in our city, and then it just drops the ball, and then we're back to square one again. So I just want to make that known. People know that I run youth sports programs. So I know when one made a comment like I'm against all these sports things, that's not true. I would actually love to have affordable youth sports program for the children. Unfortunately, every year, these costs goes up drastically high, including all these additional costs that occurs. So even when we're covering and they're not paying anything for the city, those costs are still high. I did bring up the RBI Dodgers, which it hasn't even, I don't know if it came into fruition, but I'd love to see that RBI Dodger program implemented with, our baseball team so that the children could play at such an affordable cost. So that was for the RBI Dodger. I know a few years ago when I had brought this, it was my request back then. I know now it's Tony's, but I put in this request a few years ago as a council because I know last time we wanted to have them adhere to bring in their paperwork, and half of them did not even submit paperwork. We don't know what's going on. Actually, when I requested and they brought back information, they didn't bring this to us. So thank you. It's actually good to see the breakdown of this. But, I see all these penalties, but we've never collected a single dime for any penalty, correct?
Through the chair, if I may, you are correct. As far as staff recollection is concerned, those penalties haven't been collected. Now, if we're talking, prior to 2014, wouldn't be able to answer that question. And actually, I'm just going off of staff recollection and the receipts that we would have. But no, penalties haven't been collected, and it's been mysterious. It's a mystery to me as to why. My guess is that it would go back to goodwill. I know from time to time, staff members or the powers that be back in the past, really wanted to work with those leagues and work with those boards. That could be why. But I don't have any bookkeepings that show that those penalties have been collected.
Okay, and I don't think it was, because I saw that if they don't attend these meetings, there's a penalty. And when I was a commissioner, I would hear a lot of them just did not attend. So, that one. I know I've also requested, they're supposed to maintain at least 65% West Covina residency, like our players. We've never got that information. They never provided that, correct? And the reason why I asked is because finding out, like even at work, somebody contacted me because I didn't know that their child plays in West Covina. So there's a lot of players that play in our city that obviously are not from West Covina. Did they ever submit the information of how many kids are actually West Covina residents?
They are required to submit those rosters, and on those rosters there are addresses. Now, you have some leagues that have 300-400 kids as staff going and knocking on doors. No, they're not.
No, that one I
but they are.
understand.
Yeah,
but I mean the rosters.
But they are submitting rosters. They are checking those rosters. Now, here's the thing. Going back to the non-compliance for a number of years, you have some leagues who were always Johnny on the spot, turning in what they were supposed to turn in, never had an issue. And you had some leagues that were struggling. Some of the various reasons that they were struggling is turnovers of boards. Again, you have volunteers, parents who, they're taking time out of their day, for better or for worse, trying to step in and help and support. And so each time you have a new board, you're retraining these individuals as to what those documents are, what they need to have, what it needs to look like. Not an excuse by any means, because at the end of the day, the city needs to comply by its own facility field use allocation procedures. We just need to.
And another issue that I personally had an issue is because we provide these fields at no charge. In exchange, that the leagues provide in-kind maintenance. And I know we've had a discussion, a few months or last year, about some leagues, they're like dropping it and forcing us, our maintenance, to fix and upkeep a lot of these a lot of the park that they're supposed to adhere. But again, nothing occurs, right? Like we're not. I mean, the worst thing is we're not enforcing anything. And I know when I was mentioning the fees, to collect something, whether it's $5 per kid that registers, that goes towards field refurbishment or the upkeep or the maintenance, that goes back to them anyways, but we're not getting anything. So in regards to, like the maintenance issue, since we had that last meeting, has that somewhat been resolved? Or
what I do want to add to that comment, to your question, just to give you a little bit more insight, you do have leagues that are members of the Sports Council who do comply. And one that I'm thinking of off the top of my head is the West Covina Youth Soccer over at the Orangewood Complex. They pay every year, actually twice a year, to have their fields maintained and renovated. If you take a look, like that's an excellent example of that relationship working. They do from time to time, we'll get inquiry from members of the community, hey, why is the soccer complex closed? Well, because it's for their periodic maintenance, and we'll put the signage up. But that particular league does pay, so that is a good example. Some of the other leagues, again, what are they struggling with? They're struggling with volunteers, having volunteers. From time to time, you may have a parent, a grandparent, what have you, aunt, uncle, whoever, that is handy, if you will, and is able to go out on those fields and able to do some maintenance, where they can have, their work parties where they paint the snack bar or they make the adjustments and the repairs that are needed, but you're relying on volunteers to do it. And I think it's a struggle that all the leagues have, and that coupled with what are they going to point to? They're going to point to, a lot of these families, they're registering their children for these leagues. Their money is going into these fees, these registration fees, to pay for their children to participate. So they're not always as successful in having funds allocated for the maintenance. Again, it's not an excuse. It's just what we're being told as staff, what we're observing as staff members, and what that trend is.
When I was a commissioner, the biggest issue that some, not all, like you mentioned, some are really great, is the mismanagement. There were organizations that mismanaged their funds, mismanaged how they did things. There were even some internal issues because, like right here, I saw that they're supposed to do background check for the volunteers. And as you've seen it in the media and everything, we had coaches that do lewd acts on children and so forth. And that's with or without background check. And I know, like, for example, many, many years ago, I coached here at Cameron Park for basketball for my little son. They didn't do a background check on me, a good season and everything. But if they didn't do it on me, I mean, how much more all the other volunteers? But my issue is with the mismanagement, and I just want this to be fair on both sides, the youth council and the city. And granted, I mean, some of these got to change, some of these got to be enforced. And I know we keep bringing it up, but we don't get like a full, I'm not sure who's in charge currently overseeing like these paperworks. Like, are these being submitted? Are these in track? Like, who's in charge of that? Because every year it seems to like get pushed and we're in the same spot again.
What I will tell you is that in November of last year of 2022, we issued a letter to all of the leagues. What we told them is that they were expected to be in compliance and to turn in their paperwork, and we gave them a due date. We gave them all a due date because we were easing them into compliance with the sports council, complying by their own bylaws, but then also complying to the facility allocation procedures, because this was new, unfortunately, to a lot of them, or they just had a misunderstanding of what that relationship actually was. So we were able to successfully get in one field allocation meeting, getting most of them up into compliance. The biggest hurdle really is just the revolving of board members. That is the hurdle, or who is going to have those responsibilities amongst the individual leagues. So we've definitely taken steps in the right direction. I know it's been a long time coming. I hear you. I sense you're hiding it well, but I sense your frustration, and rightfully so. You're citing back to 2013. I get it. Staff definitely hears you, and then as a follow-up to that, last week, we emailed and sent letters to all of the leagues saying, this is what's required. We are going to be enforcing this. If this isn't in, these penalties will be assessed. Here is the list of penalties, what's provided in your staff report. Here is the list of penalties you're expected to comply. Now, what I want to add to that, too, is that we're not saying that if you don't comply, that you can't use the fields. We're not saying that. We're not trying to keep anyone out of play. What we're saying is, if you don't comply, if you don't hold up your end of the bargain, of the agreement, then the fees aren't going to be waived. That's what we're saying. So I wanted to take an opportunity to mention that too, because I know that that's a misconception. We're not taking fields away. It's just that fee waiver, that portion of it. If we don't have compliance, if you're not in good standing, we can no longer turn away from that. We're beyond that. We need to comply.
Okay, and then my last question before I yield. I never really asked the history of, was Covina ever run its own sports program, or how did it become to 100% fully outside leagues? And the reason why I'm asking is because every city is different. Obviously, I run the sports program. I do all this, the league, the staffing, the background, all this stuff that I do from beginning and end, opening day and so forth. But, like Baldwin Park, I've had my children play at, different cities. Some, the city will run the younger division. And then, of course, because they don't get a lot of kids, as you get older, the older division, they just wean off. And so then they just permit that. But is there a reason, or would you know the history or the background, why West Covina all of a sudden just gave it all up? And because if this is an issue, then West Covina could have its own sports rec, I mean, I'm not saying take it all away, but, run it right, get the kids, especially within our city, and we don't have these issues.
Councilwoman Lopez-Viado, it's interesting that you say that, because I was having a very similar conversation not too long ago, like within the last couple of weeks. And what I keep going back to is at what point, because at some point there were recreation programs, and I hear you, and I hear you loud and clear. Like you and I, we see eye to eye on that. And because we both come from the recreation background, that's our bread and butter. One of the things that you had said, early on when I first started here in West Covina almost 2 years ago, was you were looking for that. You were looking for those rec programs, West Covina run rec programs to come back. And what I can share is we have done that with basketball at the very least. We did bring back West Covina Youth Basketball. That is a recreation program that is run by the city staff. And that is an example of what you're describing. But the why is, in speaking with staff members that have been here for decades, what they have shared is that during budget cuts and during constraints, that they looked at outsourcing and they looked at rental revenue as opposed to providing a subsidy for those recreation programs. For better or for worse, that's what happened. And as the city is rebuilding, rebranding, and getting a better hold on its financials, the city council as a body, you're able to provide different resources for your community members and really taking a look at what a subsidy is in recreation and defining what that subsidy is. So I hope that answers your question.
I mean, it doesn't. And when you meant budget cuts, they went to the rentals, but obviously here we collect zero fees. We get nothing out of it. And so I just, again, recreation, we're recreation. I know some of these are traveling leagues that, they pay a lot. They go and they travel. I think somebody mentioned, I had a patron at my work said they went to, played in West Covina. I forgot what league, but they almost spent like $1,000 because they, hear this fundraising and then they had to travel at other locations. So I was like, wow, $1,000. We only charge $10, that has a uniform because we have all these. But that right now, especially with the Olympics coming up, they're giving like all these cities, LA 84, all this, that benefits. So I want to make sure our kids get a benefit these and not have to put a burden on parents as well. But again, I wanted to say we are recreation. It's recreation, and to what extent. But I'll go ahead. I know other people wanted to go speak.
If I may, I also want to address one more point that you brought up regarding the RBI, the Dodger Dream Team program. And one of the things that you and I had chatted about was that grant, was those opportunities. And those grant opportunities have been redefined throughout the years. And so what I can share with you is that the next grant application is due March 1st. So staff is teed up to go ahead and submit a proposal that we're going to work on something and that will conform with those guidelines for that grant application. But I did want to provide you with that update as well.
There's also one more grant. It's the WSA. I forgot what that is, the breakdown, but it's a sports association, West Coast Sports Association. They provide grants as well.
Okay.
And that can help our residents too. Thank you. Councilman Wu.
Okay, and I want to piggyback with Councilwoman Letty Lopez-Viado regarding, first, you can omit my name. I can just replace with Letty Lopez Viada. It's true, okay? She did request this, okay, and 2-3 years ago. So I don't want to take your credit, okay? So please omit my name and change her name. This is her baby. This is her specialty, but I know there's something, okay, very important to everybody, especially for parents to have children, okay, and they play in our city. And I got a lot of complaint, like you, okay, like they cannot play and special interests occupy and this and that and that. That's why we're here. We want to change the fundamental. Okay, I think the fundamental we can change. We can discuss how we can make it fair so everybody can play. Because this is so many, okay, and league, so many teams, they all want to play. Currently, we only allow to certain, okay, and like, should we let city to run it? Since we structure the government, we already independent, the community service and community service department. So meaning they're going to have a head of department to in charge of this. And they're going to have a special person we already approved last time to run the sportplex and hopefully utilize the six baseball and the indoor soccer field. So we have a lot of facilities. We have to see what we're going to use. So we need to kind of work on this fundamental. So since last time we update this bylaw is 2013, 10 years ago. So is that about time? Should we look into, should we update, this is the first question, hold on, one by one. Okay, should we update this bylaw? Should we get it a little bit more upgrade to current, okay, update to our current situation? And then because we have more facility. And for example, how to utilize the place. And if they're using the snack bar, should they clean up the place rather than dump everything for city to pick it up? And people complaining about trash all the places. So a lot of detail, everything can go to the bylaw to update what we have. So I think today is we give direction to the city, okay, how we should do, okay, this thing. Second thing, so we update the bylaw. The third thing is compliance. Okay, we have the regulation rule and we let people using the place for free. And how we can make sure we audit, and they have to be a nonprofit, and they have to be compliant with our regulation and bylaw is, okay, and that way they can fee waive at the same time. Another issue I might have 60% our children in our city. I don't know, because the population, okay, we want to welcome other city. Children can play with us too, okay? Because maybe we don't have that many of children due to the population, again, the birth rate. So we want children, no matter our children or other city children, still children. So how can we treat them with, we can have more people to play? Okay, I think with the fairness, okay, and again, and how to, there's a really non-profit, so nobody pocket, okay, and with our taxpayer, okay, money, okay, and a facility to let public to use. It's a public place, a public use, okay, so taxpayer want everybody to be treated fairness, okay, and another thing, if you can write down, opportunity for other team to play. What kind of a policy we want, because not everybody in the league. So first, we want to make sure the league, the compliance. Second thing, how about when we can open it up for people to apply to join the sport council? Look, right now, it's only the certain group of people continue to occupy. It's not open it up. So how can we kind of breaking through and have our maybe like Mayor Pro Tem, not Mayor Pro Tem, the councilwoman Letty Viados spoke regarding maybe we should let our city to run and rather than, okay, just give it out and then create all this potential issue, a current issue we have. So I think this is something, couple of issue, okay, I think how we change, okay, and we can decide and fundamentally, hopefully make it work. Because right now, a lot of people complaining about, okay, they cannot join and they cannot play the field, and somebody using the field is their private property. So it's a very sticky area. But as we city council sit over here, we had to take this and try to make it right and for our generation to come. So this is my suggestion: set it up the fundamental, and then have to, okay, audit, have to have the team to comply. with their request. And the thing is how we open it up for more other team to join, other league to join, and how we lower the fee so everybody can. But we don't know the accountant, the fee, this and that. Maybe they need to travel, so they need to get the money to $1,000. We don't know because the transportation, this and that. But how to see the number that really go into the community and go to our children they can play and have a happy childhood. Sport, teamwork, learning, that is important for our education, for our children to play. So this is my suggestion. Okay, maybe you can answer quickly, please.
I will. Yes, I will. I will do my best to answer as quickly as possible. Okay, so your first. I'll do it this way. We're talking about compliance. I think you.
And the first thing I say, because this is a bylaw, it's back in 2013. It's 10 years ago. Should we update? Should we change a lot of update the detail and the current environment?
My recommendation is this. Initially follow the bylaws. The city staff have not followed the bylaws. Start with following the bylaws. The city there are some good things in these bylaws that haven't been followed. I think you're going to get a better sense of what works and what doesn't work if we start following the bylaws, requiring the compliance, requiring those application periods and then adhering to them. I would start there. I think it's hard for us to say what doesn't work if we're not working it.
Excuse me, sorry to interrupt, but
yes.
The reason the bylaw, we just have a controversial situation coming up, regarding should we provide light, and if we have a light issue, but due to the bylaw, basically they never mentioned about light. They should put it in the daytime. So maybe you have to include in the bylaw in detail. Should we include in city provide night light? So yeah, go ahead.
If I can, I think what you're asking is for us to quantify the in-kind maintenance that the leagues would then be required to provide.
No, because you have, now we're changing the light. We spend $1 million to Cortez Park with baseball field and football field. Then other park, they will request the same thing. We cannot only special favoritism to one park. We have other 16 parks, so we need to look into it. But the point is, if we provide those light and those league, they play, should we provide light? And who pay for those light power bill? So this is something, city, this is a lot of money we're talking about. So how you deal with that, and then if we willing to subsidize, then go ahead. If they are non-profit, they need to do it. They need to do it at nighttime. But it's that people talking about we spend way too much money. Are we going to continue spending money? So we need to look into what those power bill. Is the issue have they to play at the nighttime? So if yes, then we just put on the requirement that we will provide light. Currently, I don't think we have led. And specify regarding what we should do.
So the Cortez Park lighting project benefits the park in its entirety, and it's through the city's capital improvement program. It's a CAP project, and it was identified prior to my time that it would be a CAP project, and now is just when it came up on the schedule. So that's number one. Number two, you're talking about the lights. Is the city required to provide lights in their park spaces? That's really going to be up to the city council to define. The leagues or the community can argue you have your lighting poles, for safety reasons. There are people who utilize the park that aren't just, football or little league or cheerleaders or what have you. People who are walking the park at night, walking their dogs, just enjoying the park space. And so having lighting at the park, in my opinion, and through my experience, is standard. You can charge leagues a lighting fee. You can charge them for having certain lights on at certain times. That's definitely within the realm of something that the council can do. And at the end of the day, the council can do as they wish.
And I'm not trying to argue over here. If you say so, then we need to have all the light on. In that way, can we do all the light on, all the sport we have, all the field? We keep the light on all the time. Can we do that? If we cannot do that, when we can have a light on, is that we have a game, so we put the light on. If we don't have a game, so right now, because you say, oh, we have a light, then we have to have a light provide, then meaning what? All the park, all the light, sport light have to be on. All the 6 baseball field, all the lights should be on because some people maybe will walk over there. So what you have to define what we need to do, how much is the budget, can we afford it, or should we charge people use?
On the application that's required for facility field use, we ask them, what time do you require lights? What time of the day? Because there is that special relationship with the sports council leagues, they do get those fees waived. The city can absolutely, council can absolutely amend that.
I'm sorry to interrupt you
You're
again.
fine.
Okay, I don't want to too detailed over here. I just want to give you a suggestion. You might have to, detail regarding when we can use light, this and light, so we don't have any of a dispute. So if we allow Lee have all the documentation and we allow them to play, then we should provide light. Okay, and then you have to be detailed so we don't have this dispute. Currently, we don't have a light. We have to move the light. We have to rent $8,000, for those lights. So we want to make sure, what is proper, agreed upon, then we need to provide. If not agreed upon, then the league maybe have to pay for the light. So this has to be on the contract or our bylaw, or any of detail. We need to detail that thing.
Absolutely.
Makes sense?
Yes. Absolutely. We could definitely look at clarifying what is
Clarify,
provided.
thank you. Clarify what they can use, what they cannot use.
What comes with field usage,
Exactly.
Right?
I'm not here trying to argue. I'm here trying to help.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise we go nowhere. You want direction. My direction is you need to detail about both side obligation.
100%.
What kind of duty is. If you're using the snack bar, you can make money. Then who remove the trash? My understanding, if you mess it up, you clean it up, and you put the trash. Some people even put the trash at their home, so they don't dirty the place or make sure next people to use is nice and clean. Because we are not the city, not the mayor, always cleaning up for people's mess. So people have to clean. So we need to maybe detail, clarify. If you use snack bar, you have to clean the place with all those trash.
And there is something that puts them on the hook too. There's a security deposit. There's a cleaning deposit. And by collecting it, the city doing its due diligence and collecting it, following those bylaws, you have that, you're putting that hook there. You're putting them on the line for that.
My final suggestion is we are doing some balance. The balance is we want to encourage our residents, our children to play the sport, and we want to encourage them to utilize. We want them to join the team. We want them to have all this sport childhood, and gradually move up in their life. Happy childhood, happy life. And that's why we try to provide for them. But at the same time, we want to see to be fair. And that's why here, what we can discuss to give the direction. My request is, if this 2013, 10 years, are we looking, maybe city attorney can give us some, Tom? Yeah, can you look into, the bylaw need to be upgraded because 10 years already? I need to, you cannot sit over there and that's easy money. You need to participate. Help us with the bylaw. What should we do? And so in that way, we're working very hard for free, and hopefully, just people complaining about you just have increased. So help us. Regarding the bylaws, should we do something? Maybe reference to other cities sport. Maybe. Yeah, and see, do we need 10 years? We haven't done anything. So maybe, right? Mayor Councilwoman Letty Lopez Viado, right? Because it's 10 years ago, and a lot of things need to be maybe updated. And that is the thing. And then after that, we need to make sure people comply to show us all the documentation, all the bylaw. And then we will decide, should we have, since we restructure community service, should we have, and that to run it. That will be council to decision where that will be a better, or we still outsourcing, and currently just a lot of complaint. So this is, I'm done. Okay, I need to give time to some other council. But this is my suggestion for you. Again, I apologize. I'm not trying to argue.
Oh, no. It's
just give some
constructive.
Yes.
It's constructive. And really, I think too, like you said earlier, Councilwoman, it's never been brought to the board, to the council's attention like this. It's never been detailed out like this. So it's constructive to hear that. And 10 years, things change in 10 years.
10 years before my time. Okay. So it's about time we update it. But again, I'm trying to see, can we detail? So in that way, who doing what is clearly spelled out, and they have to do what they agree upon. And we, as a city, you guys do what the city job is.
I have two more points I'd like to make to answer your questions. You had you raised the point about the residency requirement. My recommendation would be is to do a survey of the other cities to see what their current requirements are for residency registration, just to understand this trends, the trends. And then the second point that you had brought up are other leagues wanting to join the sports council. There is actually a process to do that. That is in the bylaws, in the facility use. Again, I think it goes back to following it.
Oh, I'm sorry. I broke my promise. Okay, this is my last question. Okay, one thing is this. We only have one soccer field. Can we find a way to do more? Because we have a lot of baseball field. We even have 6 baseball field at Sportplex, but we only have one Orangewood. Okay, and soccer field. So I think soccer become very popular. Okay, do we have any? Okay, and the location, maybe we can look into it. Okay, and some of the land we have. Okay, maybe can help out into a potential. Okay, and a popular sport for the current situation. Okay, thank you.
If I may, I'm going to take this as an opportunity to plug one of the goals, one of the objectives that the City Council had was a parks master plan. And what you're describing is identifying an area, identifying space for soccer. And that is something that you would work through a parks master plan. And that is something that both myself and acting city manager, Pauline Morales, have been discussing, and we're looking at going for an RFP for that. There's a draft version of what that would look like.
Thank you. Done with my time. Okay.
Mayor Pro Tem.
Thank you, Mayor. A couple things. I know as a youth football coach, and I know the West Covina Bruins were all live scanned in order to be part of the Pop Warner and Junior All-American, and it is quite pricey to get live scanned, but all the coaches, we can feel safe with youth football. The other thing, in terms of the lighting, I think season matters, right? Football's played in the fall, so it gets dark very, very quickly, and it's one of the reasons why their lighting is required, maybe more so than the spring sports, right? That will be able to practice and not actually need light. A couple concerns I do have. One is I am concerned in terms of field usage and some of our leagues possibly allowing for the private training to be able to happen during the time when they are supposedly using the field. And I know that happens. I know it happens quite a bit. And it's, quite a bit of money is being paid by our families. And so, I don't know if that's in the bylaws in terms of a penalty and a way to lose your ability to use these fields. But that's a major concern that I'd like to see in there. Because again, there are quite a few people, quite a few programs that are, my wife actually just talked to a trainer, $75 an hour for a 10-year-old, and this is just basic skill training. And they do. And we also know that some of our leagues, and some of those board members do take funds, right? And so I want to make sure that that's clear in here, that would be a penalty, for using the fields improperly, in that way. I wanted to also speak on what Councilman Wu said about opening the leagues to other cities. I know especially the little leagues have struggled in being able to have multiple teams. I know some of our little leagues have to actually travel to other cities in order to play, especially as they get into the 13 and 14-year-olds. And so, I think it would benefit us to relook at that. And I know you said about doing a survey, but that these leagues are sustainable too. I think if they have enough people signing up and paying, then maybe we don't have some of these other issues. So that's just another concern. I know Councilwoman Lopez Viado mentioned about city run. I know when my son was very young, we went to Covina because Covina was the only space, right? And they had their own youth leagues, really tiny tots, basketball, football, soccer, baseball, all of that. And so I think that, that is a positive, and residents, especially of young, the toddler age, those are areas that we're always looking for programming. And I think that would be a big benefit for the city. So, last thing, I know, just in our high school sports seasons, we always had orientations for the coaches and for staffs and all of that. And are we doing that? Quarterly orientations for the volunteers, because this is pretty intimidating. When you're looking at all the bylaws, it's a lot of legal language and you're having to fill out all this paperwork, and it's very intimidating and you don't really know what it means. And then you're worried about your own liability by signing up for it. And so I'd like the city to also, build that bridge so it's not an intimidating process, so they do understand how they're going through this, as opposed to just giving people a packet and saying, okay, you need to fill this out. So I just wanted to know what type of orientation we're doing for the volunteers. Thank you.
Mayor Pro Tem, I think, you hit on some key points. I'm going to start with what you said about an orientation. As staff is made aware that we have new board members, we orient them. So we give them the information. But I think we do need to go a step further. I think we do need to sit down and have these conversations with the leagues and going item by item. And as uncomfortable and as unnecessary as some of the league representatives may feel that it is for their own reasons or for whatever it may be, we need to be doing this. And that is, the city can do its due diligence in making sure that they understand what they are signing up for and what is required in order to have that fee waiver. I agree with you. Staff agrees with you to that point. Your question regarding the private, or the point that you made regarding the private coaching, that is not what the intended use is for. The intended use for those fields is for that athletic play, for those leagues, for those specific reasons, whether it's tryouts, practices, games, whatever it is. The private coaching that's on the side, that's a business. And we're working with nonprofits. There is a difference. And I think going back to what Councilman Wu said, we need to clearly define what that looks like. As leagues evolve, as time goes on, we do need to make this document reflective of what is happening now. While I still say there are things that are still good in this document that we need to start adhering to, there will be an opportunity to address those changes, or an opportunity to make those adjustments, just as Councilman Wu said, just as Councilwoman Lopez Viado has been saying, and what you're alluding to.
Right. Councilman Condos?
Yes, thank you so much, Madam Assistant City Manager. I really appreciative over your answering the question or discussing the need for a comprehensive orientation in order to ensure that there is proper passing along of institutional memory, because when volunteers are new, then they may not know what the practices are. I'm also in agreement with the thought that we should enforce our current bylaws, and at the same time as we do that, we should still look at ways to make necessary adjustments, considering the last time they were amended was 10 years ago. And so I think that if we engage in that process while ensuring that there's enforcement of existing rules, then we should hopefully make some progress. And like you said earlier, when we enforce the current bylaws, we'll then be better positioned to see what's working, what isn't, which could then be the basis for making the sorts of changes and suggestions that the Mayor Pro Tem has made, as well as moving forward with what Councilman Wu has said and Councilwoman Lopez Viado with regard to streamlining this whole process. The thing that we have to just make sure to do as we move forward with this whole process is also to institutionalize the practices among our city staff. Because let's say right now, Madam Assistant City Manager, you're here, but let's say there's a time that you end up being snatched up and become city manager somewhere, and then we lose you, and then oh my gosh, Roxanne is gone, and then what do we do then? So in other words, what we have to do is we just have to look at making sure at all levels that things are appropriately documented in terms of processes and procedures, and that city staff knows what needs to be done procedurally so that no matter who comes along, they will know how to do those things. And at the same time, to institutionalize the culture within the leagues of saying, look, this is what we're expecting of you, but it's give and take, and it is good for all of us to consistently abide by our rules. So that way, when we do that, then it further professionalizes our operations, and everyone knows what's expected of them. And then from there, we can move forward accordingly. Thank you.
Councilwoman Leti Lopez Viado.
So I think we should have a sports coordinator, because this is a year-round in sports. Running sports, it needs like 100% attention. And this would include, I know the rec department, West Covina, started the basketball with the youth. And the little things that you've already started has been successful. So the sports coordinator could oversee that, as well as these sports leagues that are constant year-round, which would, follow up with them, enforce, or any additional things that are needed, or somebody to contact if they have any questions. In reference to what Mayor Pro Tem Tabatabai mentioned about them using the fields or allowing other users to use it because they get it for free, but they're pocketing somebody else. And I know that does occur. On page 7, the attachment C, it does say brokering a reserve field to another user is $500. The thing with this, this whole thing, we're not enforcing again. And that is the main thing that we need to do, is enforcement. But it is difficult when you are all busy with 10 different projects. You actually need somebody dedicated just for this. And sports alone comes with a lot of issues, complaints, parents. It doesn't matter how great you run it. I can run a great sports program, but you'll always have issues. It just comes with the territory. Officials, fields, maintenance, just a wider variety of things. So a sports coordinator is needed. As for understanding, you are correct. It does get time consuming having to repeat things. And so, I would recommend that we have like a training video or like a YouTube link or channel that any of the volunteers come in. These are the forms you need. This is what you need to complete. So all the Q&A are there. You would show the form. I do appreciate that you mentioned that you are going to make it user friendly to streamline the whole process. That is great, because it gets, like you mentioned, it gets a little overwhelming, especially if you don't quite understand, you're scared to I don't want to be liable. But if you have that and put it all together, instead of you taking your time, just please review this link. If you have additional questions after viewing this video, follow up. But a sports coordinator would be greatly appreciated. But yes, enforcement is definitely needed, and a sports coordinator, somebody to focus on that. That's it.
Councilman Wu.
Yeah, and just like previously I mentioned, I think we just restructured, our government, and organization. We need fill it up. We need all those leaders, and those leaders coming in give us a proposal. We need a sport coordinator. We need another person in the sportplex, but we need a leader to tell us. Right now we have none. Right now, Roseanne wear a lot of hat. So it's just humanly pretty impossible. So if we can have public work okay, and and community service and planning and etc. We fill it up, but we already approve. So right now we're just waiting for HR, waiting for recruitment, and after that, okay. But in the meantime, I think fundamentally we just need to implement about the bylaw. Currently, nobody implement at all, and so that's the problem. No enforcement, no implement, and nobody even give a hoo-ha. Okay, so everybody do anything they want. So they create a lot of unhappy residents complain to us all the time. And it's not fair for a lot of team and children. So we need to really look into it. So I think the direction is just, support, our Councilman Kento talk about we need to make a structures, no matter this and that, the things still continue. It won't be just people leave and then we have nobody doing anything. And second thing is, basically, we need to make sure, and our bylaw 10 years ago, but we enforce and implement and make sure they comply, but also at the same time to look into city attorney, I need to checking in. So he participate. So he not those out. It's like, you got talking nonsense. So anyway, and so in that way, we can have with the 2023 our update, and bylaw thing. So in that way, I think we gradually can build up a good. And I really support and the Councilwoman Letty Lopez Viado talking about we have a community service, have them to run, and to fund the toddler into the because we have disability children too. We need to do some of including those children city can kind of help them to play sport too. So we entertain all kind of a different group. So that's what government about. We taking care of everybody. So this is my suggestion. I support all the council. And the suggestion. I think this is a good discussion to give. We really care. We really want this thing to be fair. And then run a good sport. Big city with so many facilities, we can run a good program. Yes, I'm done.
Councilwoman Lopez Viado.
Thank you. I know we're actually working on inclusive sports. So, but I wanted to make note of also the breakdown of the fairness of field usage, because there are some leagues that are huge and they can only fit one practice, a week for each team. And then there's other leagues that are just so small, but they hog up all the field usage. They can go practice 3-4 times a week, which is not fair because, other leagues or from other cities want to use our space as well, but we can't give up that space or they're brokering another space. So that needs to be looked on, because depending on the size of your program should also determine the field usage, because it's not fair to take up all the fields and, you don't really have that many participants.
Yes. And one more point, if I may, that I want to add to that too, is that you do have some leagues, exactly what you described. They're outgrowing the space. They are reserving facilities through the school district as well. So you do have that going on too. I think what we would like to do, just in the spirits of transparency and just continuing this conversation, we should come back to you with an idea, or not an idea, but just a look of what are all of those assets and which leagues are going outside of those assets. And I think that that'll give you a more comprehensive picture. And one of the ways, again, that we do that is that's part of a parks master plan. You get all of that together through that. But I hear what you're saying, and you really do want that comprehensive look, and I think it's important for understanding and for decision making.
Councilman,
I beat him, and I beat him.
Okay,
I won. No, I wanted to also mention, as you survey the other cities, if you can also include, the cost of what it, just all comprehensive, because the irony, I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, when they use the school, is it free or do they pay?
School districts do have a fee.
That's what I figured, and I think everything else. I mean, like I know when I run our fees, we have a tier. So like if it's a youth sports, we charge them, I don't know, $10 an hour, and if it's regular outside, it's like $25 an hour. And then field lights, if lights are needed, it's $35 an hour. I mean, I'm just giving you like like what we kind of charge at work. But if you can get a survey, because some of these leagues also play at other city and so forth. But if you can get a comprehensive survey of what the surrounding cities are charging. But yeah, I do find it ironic that the schools here in West Covina, they pay there. They don't have any issue, but with our city. So, and as for soccer, just wanted to mention, was it Orangewood or Edgewood Middle School? They have a soccer football synthetic. Yeah, Edgewood Middle School has a synthetic soccer field as well in front of. So I mean, they utilize that, and that's part of the schools. We also utilize the schools. That's because the city does have. Just wanting to confirm, City of West Covina and the school district does have a joint agreement, correct?
Can you repeat that last part?
The City of West Covina and the school district has a joint agreement for field usage.
You're talking about a joint use agreement. We do not have a joint use agreement. We do have we have cooperations with the school district.
Pool.
Just a swimming pool.
Swimming pool, I think we have.
I mean, but they do, like, for example, the synthetic field, the track at Edgewood. I mean, that one is open.
That one is open to the public. There are community hours. I'm using the wrong term, but there are hours that the community members can access it. But there is, if you're looking for like a joint use agreement, hey, at this time of year, you're going to allow for this to happen, and then we're going to allow for your user groups to come in. That isn't there. I believe that the school district would be open to those conversations, whether or not what those terms would look like. I don't know at this time, but I would believe that they would be open to those conversations.
Okay, thank you,
Councilman Wu.
Yeah, and I remember regarding the partnership. Okay, I remember the Edgewood swimming pool that was belonged to West Covina City. And we went to the school, and I remember we have a right to usage. So maybe city can check into it. And can we use the summer program to teach people to swim this? And I remember that was in our agenda, right?
We currently do have that. I know we did discuss that.
Yeah, we talk about that. That's the first thing. But second thing, I will talk about the fee study. Okay, so would you please, acting city manager, check into do we still have a right to use the pool we grant to the school district, West Covina Unified School? Okay, and to see, because I remember a lot of people asking for the summer swimming. We need to teach kids how to swim. Okay, and the city can provide community service, provide all this, and including lifeguard, and we pay the lifeguard. I remember we pay lifeguard, remember? Okay, so now after we donate, or grant to the school, I don't know what happened afterwards. So hopefully this coming summer, we can utilize the pool, and that's a nice, beautiful pool. Okay, but don't forget, that is major CS, taxpayers' money. Meaning it's our resident. We fundraising, we ask people to vote. So it's West Covina property. That's from our taxpayer. You guys all pay for it. Okay, so I in the Covina Unified, so I didn't pay for it, so I admit it. Okay, so I know check my ID. I cannot use it unless I pay. Okay, so because I'm in Covina Unified School. But don't come to over there, then you guys have to pay. So anyway, so another thing, fee study, we already doing the fee study. We really need to look into it. I know people rent the gazebo of the park, they have to pay. They rent the community service room, they need to pay. Okay, so in that way, why, people rent our field and not paying? So I don't think it's that. So how much pay the fee, and that is to pay for our staff time and pay for maintenance. Another thing that's very important. All this sport council cannot be political. Okay, and I know they become political. Okay, sometimes they only invite one city council. They don't invite rest. Okay, and they even do campaign during the homecoming. And it's unacceptable because its OCT support should be non-political. So we need to tell all these sport league, stay out of politics, focus on children. That's why we city allow you to do it. Okay, so in that way, let's emphasize to them non-political. And this year, we didn't get invited to the girls' softball first time. Okay, when they opening, why we didn't get invited? Okay, and we didn't get invited for some other event, and we get invited every year. What happened? The city should look into it. If they become political, we should remove them. Okay, because they violate the bylaw. So I hope they understand. No matter who you like or dislike, it's all city. Okay, and then you have to treat all 5 city council with fairness. We all should be all invited. Okay, to the, you want to show up or not, that's another issue. But it should be everybody get invited for their opening game or their homecoming game. It's a must. Okay, cannot be. It's not. They do not own it. They cannot say I only willing to invite one person. That is not fair. And then in that way, city shouldn't subsidize. Okay, for them, they should pay the fee. So that's my request. Okay, make sure they follow bylaw. Should be a non-political, sincere, non-profit.
Councilwoman Lopez Villaro.
To follow up on Councilman Wu, I didn't see that on the bylaw, but it should be. And there's certain things like, as a city employee, the standards of conduct should actually be implemented here. And I understand what he was discussing, because Councilman Wu came to an opening day, baseball and everything, and there's a person who's running against him, and they just said, they welcomed them, and they said, oh, vote for so-and-so, and it's like right in front of his face, like I'm not mentioning names, but
it's a homecoming.
Or and it's like, wait a minute, this should be children shouldn't leave politics alone. They shouldn't be saying who to vote for or anything. It's just like when we're at work, it doesn't matter what my political views are. I don't go inside my work with a sign or telling people who come in to my facility to vote for this or vote for that. It's zero. I keep that out separate. So the sports council or any activities, events that is used, just focus on youth. And the standard of conduct should be included in the bylaws, because I know currently it's not. So, yes.
Well,
I think we would, through the chair, if I may, real quick, just to address, the points. I think we'll follow the direction with coordinating with legal on that and bringing those points with legal, so that we make sure that we can address what your concerns are, but then make sure that we're covered through the legal avenues. I was nodding yes.
City attorney, we are right? Yeah, because they're using the city resource, so it should be non-political. Maybe you can elaborate a little.
That's right. You guys kill us.
Thank you for talking. Oh my God!
Charge them by the minute.
Oh, it's about time.
As council can't campaign from the dais, you don't want your commissions or any other committees doing the same thing, campaigning. In essence, using city funds doing it. So that we can add that in there.
Perfect. Wow. I think we have a very clear direction, right? So I think that we should start with those bylaws, enforcing them, and then, of course, working on updating them. I think that would be an excellent idea. And going back to that swimming pool, wow, that's something that we can use in the summertime. Maybe we can have aerobics classes, swimming classes for the children, and they could be in our Discovery, West Covina Discovery, announcing it. I think that'd be an excellent idea.
There was about a time we have a swimming lesson. Okay, I remember clearly.
That's good.
And we even hired a bodyguard. Not bodyguard. Okay, and lifeguard.
No, that was for the homecoming.
In reference to speak on behalf, I know my son plays water polo there. They did have a summer programming that is through Route 66. But I'm not sure if West Covina promoted that. I'm hoping that we still get in contact where they do the swimming. There was swimming lessons, because I thought of joining in and stuff. But I'm not sure about like water aerobics. That would be a great idea, like some fitness during that time. But I know they also utilize it for their program. But the only thing I'm not sure is I don't think they have an open swim time. If that should be at least, it would be nice for the community at least to have whether it's once or twice a week for a few hours, just to open it up to the public. That could be implemented. But I know that they do offer swim lessons, and that's the Route 66 that goes through there. So,
Mayor Pro Tem?
Thank you. Yes, my son is also in the water polo in Route 66. But I would like to see, because also our seniors are not able to use that Edgewood pool. And, I had a lot of residents, when I spoke to them that, they wanted to pay the taxes, and they did, and they were happy to see it built, but they do want access as well. And, I think senior swim, aerobics, especially that early morning time, I think that's something that we should be able to see about partnering with the school district and being able to have it opened up and used and, staffing it. Thank you.
Should I move the motion of this is just receive and file?
Yes. Yes.
I move the motion receive and file.
Okay, it's not file.
Well,
let's move forward. We're not going to file.
I think there's going to be.
Let's receive and come back to us with
okay.
updates and information, because I don't want this to happen again next
We
year.
still have we have to still move the motion, right?
But we have to
move the
The mayor actually said it beautifully.
Yes.
She said enforcing or adhering and enforcing to the bylaws, what's currently standing right now, and then coming back with amendments and adjustments and recommendations.
So I want to follow the mayor request. Okay, move the motion for all our suggestion. Okay, all our suggestion. Not only if you still remember, you have to play back all the 5 of us suggestion. Okay, into the consideration and bring back for our decision. Okay, that's my motion.
I'll second.
I have a motion by Councilman Wu and a second by Councilwoman Lopez Viado to take a look at the bylaws and come back with suggestions and amendments. Councilman Contos?
Aye.
Councilman Wu?
Aye.
Councilwoman Lopez Viado?
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Tabatabai?
Aye.
Mayor Diaz?
Aye.
Item passes 5-0, Mayor. Thank you.
Okay. Let's rock and roll. Okay, is anybody? Do we have any comments or any Mother May I's?
Really quick. Okay, I just have a request. Okay, and the website. We need to hurry up to get this our website rock and roll. We're asking for how many years, Councilwoman Lady Lopez Viado?
I asked that before my last term.
Yeah, I know.
There's a reoccurring...
You're already almost done with your second term.
I know.
Okay, so we need to get this website. Okay, please. Okay, we've been requesting like a naggy old man. Okay, been asking again. I think you're tired about. We request our website to be functional. Okay, we need to get it done, and don't dragging over there and the consideration here. There, we need to find somebody that you can do it and just get it done. Okay, and because the website is our face, people check information, go to website. And our website is now usable. We cannot find anything. So this first thing is, if you got to check about our city website, okay, for example, Moon Festival for the vendor, how to apply. And we miss a lot of opportunity, okay, for people who want to apply, become the vendor for our event. We have a lot of event coming up. So first thing is, our website should, okay, to give next year or coming all the event, to have a detailed each event line up from here to next year, so everybody can anticipate what kind of events coming up. Okay, and then we have say vendor needed, and then application this and that. Check out the city. I check very easy to online, and they show you around. We are like a maze, and plus our documentation is like a dictionary. Okay, it's like discourage people to apply. True story. Our file request is like unbelievable complicated. Okay, so we need to streamline to make sure, okay, that we are going to do event, we're going to unite people together, we're going to create the buzz, we want our business vibrant, but we need to let people participate easily, and they're willing to pay the fee, but encourage, just like we talk about sport council, okay, the bylaw not going to scare people. Okay, encourage people, this is the thing. So same thing too, sport council, people can apply, how I can play, how can utilize, how many, where availability, where is the I can apply and the book. It should be online. And I remember before we have a classes, all can be online, request and book it. But now I don't know, I don't think we have that anymore. Okay, our functional is unfunction at all. Right now it's just like broken. We've been city want to do good job, and your website, that system has been working, okay, for the people to go online, checking. It's 21st century, everything online. So that people can go online, checking the information, check about, okay, and the program, and submit if they want to participate, or they want to do some other volunteer, easy for them to apply. Remember last time, commissioner want to be our community service commissioner. He has a hard time to fill up the application. So our website is not easy to use. So in that way, we have to hurry up, please. We've been asking how many years? 5 years, 6 years already? Yeah. So hopefully, with acting city manager, you can get it done. Yeah. Okay. That's my request. Thank you.
Madam Mayor.
Councilman Conto?
Also related to the website, and maybe this is already done, Madam Acting City Manager, is it already online available a way for people to put in their address to see when their road will be repaved under the repavement management program? Or that was talked about, I think, in January or February, and I thought it was promised by September, October. Yes. So I'm just wondering, where is that now? We're already almost at the end of October.
So we did launch recently the resource or GIS map that does let residents go in and look up their address. They can see if the tree is a city-owned tree, when it's going to get tree trimmed, when their street sweeping is, when their trash pickup day is. The pavement management plan, we have the old one that is available on the website, but it's not an interactive map on our GIS. So the new plan that is completed, and we will be bringing before the City Council, that will be going on that GIS map, and so that will be a little bit more interactive for residents to be able to pull up that information on which roads are going to be paved and when they're scheduled to be.
And by when is that going to be brought online?
I will have to get back to you on that one.
Okay, so
I will owe you that information.
Okay, so then later the next council meeting, if that be included in your city manager's report, please, about that plan, because we don't want the ball to be dropped even inadvertently. So then that way we can keep things moving.
Okay.
Thank you.
Councilman Wu?
Yeah, I'm really quick. Okay, I want to follow the piggyback. Okay, Councilman Kento. Okay, and that is what we request January. Okay, and I remember they say, hey, we're going to hire this company. They come, we'll do a presentation. But we're so busy and we forgot. And then now, thank you so much, okay, Councilman Kento. That is so important for us we say we want to hire this company, and the Transtech is going to introduce this company. So where is this company? Now it's already October, almost end of the year. We still have this consulting company come to give us about, each street have an ID. And that's what we promised the resident on January meeting, or maybe last year, being requesting this. And this need to be done, and this will go with our website, and so people can type in their street, name, and they will understand what is the grade of their street, when that street should be repair or should be maintenance. And that is very important to, so in that way, nobody will bug us or bug the city. Okay, so when, okay, I know you have to check into it, but we need a consultant to come to the company we hire. Yeah, go ahead.
I was just going to mention that we are finalizing the plan, and that, which roads are going to be paved, which ones we're going to focus, which years. And so once that plan is finalized, then we will be able to upload that new plan onto the GIS. So I will get you an update at the next council meeting.
My understanding is the company should come over here, give us a presentation first, right? No, right now they already hired, they're already doing their thing. Which company is, I remember
they're preparing the report, the revised pavement management plan. And so staff reviewed it. We have some comments that we wanted to incorporate, and we're waiting.
I remember our request is the company will come to us first and tell us what this, am I right?
I don't remember, but at least our acting city manager will get back to us.
When you can get back to us?
She said our next.
I can provide an update at the next city manager's report.
Maybe this week can send to us email.
I can email that information, and then per Councilman Concha's request, I can provide an update at the city manager's report at the next council meeting.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Anyone else? Mayor Pro Tem?
Yeah, just to comment on our capacity. I think at a certain point, and it's been 5 years since Councilwoman Lopez Viado talked about the website. If we don't have the capacity to run it as a top notch like other cities, then I think that also needs to be reported to the council. If we just don't have a staff or to really continue to update it, to make sure it functions, to make sure to put all the patches that need to be done, to do all the back end stuff and engineering that needs to go in to make a website like really easy, then that's something that should be presented to us as well. Because, it is frustrating. But if we just don't have a staff that can do it, then that also needs to be told. And so I just want to say that, so that way we aren't here again 6 months later, still feeling frustrated, still not being able to do things that really hurt the city, right? Because if you have a really great functioning website that is easy to, do business permits and, to apply to be a vendor at a carnival or be able to access the tickets to, go to our events and things like that. I mean, it user friendly is really a must, right? We are in the service business, and to give good customer service is number one, and online is really the space. So if we can just, again, if we have the capacity, then let's get it done. If we do not, let's present it to council so we can figure out how to get it done properly, because the residents want it. The other thing I wanted to mention is I am going to be representing the city on a delegation on a U.S.-China Sister City Forum. I think it's a great opportunity. Councilman Wu has talked about in the past. It's a way to really represent the great city of West Covina, the great things that we are doing. And really it's a larger delegation with the state of California and just who we are. And so I'm really excited and honored to represent West Covina. I want to thank Councilman Wu, who's been able to share a lot with me to make sure that I'm prepared and that I can represent the city as the city deserves to be represented. Thank you.
Just want to again piggyback. Okay, our Mayor Pro Tem, Tabai, regarding the trip. Okay, I did have a trip in 2017, two trips. Okay, one in June, one September, and then 2019. Okay, at Harbin. So I just want to share with you, we have 3 sister city or friendly city that we established. The first one, that is the Beijing Fengtai. It's about 3 million population, and they came over here in 2017 end November, signed the treaty that we are the sister city with the Beijing Fengtai, and then they send their children over here in the South Hill Academy. Okay, that is back in 2000 before the pandemic. So just want to share with you that we have a good relationship with the Beijing Fengtai. So if you go there, okay, and I know another sister city is Fushun. It's on the northeast of China. Okay, and that is called the Manchuria on the north side. Okay, and Fushun is one of a city that about 3.5 million population, and they contact me. They invite me to go to this Shanghai Kunshan, okay, the sister city French city conference, but I declined it. Okay, due to I don't have the time. Okay, I'm glad you can make time. So, okay, and the third sister city we have is I went with Lloyd Johnson 2019. Okay, that is Harbin. It's a population 12 million, and they're very famous of their snow and ice festival. Okay, and so that is magnificent. So I wish you have a good trip. Okay, and I heard about you take the business class. I'm very jealous. I only take an economy class. So because I cannot afford the business class, it's too expensive. So anyway, and who's laughing? Okay. Okay. So anyway, and I wish you a good trip and safety come back. Okay. And when you arrive Kunshan as a French conference, just say hi to our sister city, French city again. Okay. Beijing Fengtai. 3 million population, and Fushun 3.5, and then Harbin. So say hi to them and say sorry I cannot make it because I'm dedicated to my life in West Covina.
Anyone else? Councilwoman Letty Lopez Viado.
So I just wanted to thank the council for reminding and enforcing the website again. As you remember, 2-3 years ago when a resident came and she said, this link doesn't work, this link doesn't work. And we brought it to you and you said, you'll update the links, but it has to go through all the departments. And then it was brought back again. And then I asked, are those all updated? Because this link doesn't work. But from there, I didn't get an update. So I don't know, one, did all the departments update what needs to be updated on the website? So that is one. And then the second one is if we could just get that going. If bring it to our attention, if it needs to be another vendor that needs to bid out, RFP, put that, make sure that this is a priority because it's the forefront of our city and people, everybody's technology, that's what they quickly look at. So in reference to when I look at other cities, it does pop up their main special event that's coming up. I know sometimes when residents ask me, I don't even know where to find it on the website. There's not like a search engine that just kind of navigates certain things. So it should be easy. I know sometimes they're like, well, I want to start a business. How do I, what do I do? What site or what city? I know I've reached out to Paulina, like which city's available, centers available. And I know it's on the website, but on the website where, so if that can be a top priority as I have asked and requested this in the past. The second, as I mentioned with the Mother May I, if we can have Acting Chief Cortina, if he can present. I know a lot of the topics keep coming back to the Gascon situation, which I know that he's kind of made his way into, certain files to push for. I think the residents should hear about this in conjunction with the recent murder that occurred, to give the residents an update with the press release. I know that was given out, but I know there's more that comes, and hopefully the second victim, by the time he comes to the council to speak, probably in our next meeting, I'm hoping that the second suspect has already been acquired. I know a lot of times we can't give out a lot of information that's on there because it is under investigation, and I do ask residents out there, that we have that Crime Stopper phone number. You can report anonymously for anything you see, just to help solve a case as quick as possible. But if we can have, I would like to request, Acting Chief Cortina to come up and give an update with this. Residents would even like to know what is happening or what is occurring with these underage minors who are convicting violent acts and murders. We have been seeing a lot of shootings that have been occurring throughout LA County. but we don't see consequences. And I think we need to get an update. I'm sure that Gascon's office is now turning the tables and, finally hitting and realizing, but we need to know what these updates are. Unfortunately, I know we've had another shooting, 2 weeks ago, but sometimes they don't go on the news because a murder didn't happen. And unfortunately, sometimes, when a death occurs, that's a sacrifice that everybody now starts paying attention to. So I'd like to make sure that that is on our upcoming agenda or the following, just to get updates, especially for residents to ease their mind on safety. Because especially in that area, the neighbors are concerned and they're scared, and they have every right to be. And it causes this anxiousness. And, how can we calm our residents down? What things that they can do, things that are in our control. I'd like to make sure that is forefront. So, yeah, that's what I like to ask. Thank you.
Mayor Pro Tem.
Yeah, just last, I know at the community meeting I had this Saturday, we did make sure WCPD was there, and like you said, a lot of residents were concerned, and that's why we made sure that those questions were answered. I guess I would say out to the residents, if that is something that needs to be done again, then that's always something I think we can think about doing again, holding another community meeting soon to address this. Like was said, I think WCPD, West Covina Police, has done a really great job on this, and we should hopefully have a resolution soon. But I do understand the residents' concerns. And again, thank you to everyone who came out on Saturday, and to staff, Assistant City Manager Lerma, the rest of the city staff that was there, and WCPD that was there, that answered a lot of hard questions. They handled themselves professionally, did a really good job. And so thank you.
Okay, well, that concludes.
I'm sorry. For Mother May Eyes, we do need a motion and a second and a vote.
Okay.
So I'm assuming Lopez Viado has made the motion. If I can get a second and take.
I'll second it.
And a second by Mayor Diaz. Councilman Cantos?
Aye.
Councilman Wu?
Let me think about this. Okay. Yeah, aye.
Councilwoman Lopez Viado?
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Sabatabai?
Aye.
Mayor Diaz?
Aye.
Thank you.
Okay. No more, right? No more Mother May Eyes? Well, this concludes our meeting, and I just want to say that we are all concerned as city council members. We are concerned about our community, and I want to say that we always support our West Covina Police Department, and that's why we really would like to have more police officers here. And it concerns us. We're all concerned about our safety, and all I can say is please be safe out there and be diligent and report anything you see, and take care. Thank you. Good night.